So let's get out of here and back into where we were. The game loves its autosaves. I wasn't running it for that long. I last saw your stream and had been wondering since, where do you get that resource map for Germany, says Dizzle121. I spent about an hour and a half painstakingly putting it together myself. The game does have a raw image file for the German map, which is enormous, by the way. I think it's 10,000 pixels by 10,000 pixels. I forget where exactly in the files it is, but I'm sure if you ask me later, I could dig it out for you. After I got that, I overlaid it with a transparent in-game map of the capitals, and then plonked those onto it. And there, I just painstakingly counted and added all the RGOs to the best of my ability, near enough where they actually are in the game. And that's how we get maps like... Oh man, I didn't test my maps. I hope this works. Does it work? It does work. I don't know why I clicked fade, because that's kind of daft to do, but there it is. How about we trim you down a bit? There we go. At least now when I accidentally leave you covering the map, you're not going to cover it for quite so long. What do we have here? This is my planning map. All of Germany is split up into 11 hubs. The hubs have been gerrymandered a bit and will likely be gerrymandered a bit more. For example, right here in the red zone, I had beets here. Oh god. Testament to how large the map is, that is the standard paintbrush size there. But it has beets here and beets here that were both previously in the red area, which didn't make any sense. Everybody has a raw requirement for beets, so why give them all over to the red zone? None of that. Move them over to brown. I also give brown the wood because there's already wood over here. And if there's excess wood beyond that, I will shunt it around from warehouse to warehouse. The big thing... Well, I'm going to work on the brown area today. My main concern for Brown Town is that it doesn't have any wool. Now, there are fewer wool RGOs than there are hubs here, so someone is always going to suffer. Nonetheless, the Hanseatic plan does involve everybody getting a full shipment of wool. So Brown area will likely have to get its wool from the overflow warehouses sent into it. Or I'll figure something out about it. One way or the other, it's going to need to get its wool. Now, where does Browntown start and where does it end? Well, you know, one thing I never did was connect up the overflow warehouse to all of this, and I'm not sure I ever will. I can't see the justification for it right now. In fact, there's a lot of perfecting to be done in... wow, I thought you connected a quarter of the map. I was wrong. Oh, very wrong. I've connected all of the map, truthfully, but these are just preliminary connections in order for me to dominate the map and make enough money so that I can make a perfect hub-based system. So yeah, think of all this as just the precursor to what we're building. All of this stuff, just to begin with. What I'm looking for is beauty like this, where each hub is connected up with their RGOs. They have the industry to create finished goods and enough to bring them up to reasonable population. 100,000 is great for this point. I want to move it up to 250,000 in order to achieve perfection. That'll be more difficult, but that's also not really much of a problem for us down the line. Why is there a massive land bridge in Prussia? Well, you start going cuckoo after making enough of these railway lines, and I decided that this snakeway tract of land here was simply too beautiful not to augment with our own beautiful Prussian steel bridge. And that is how Kongsberg gets its fruit. And I think that's almost all it gets. It gets its beetroots and its fruit. Wait, why do I have Liquid Snow Beets to Kongsberg? Why is it not called Beets to Kongsberg? I don't know. I'm also not going to be overly bothered with that right now. It's not about the Red Hub. As far as I'm concerned, the Red Hub is 2 out of 3 complete. It'll be 3 out of 3 complete when I come back and I make sure everybody's getting everything and connected up to its overflow warehouse. For now, this overflow warehouse is just for show. No, what I do today is I focus on the the big brown hub. It's the second biggest hub, actually, and it has a lot of useful flatland. Well, it has a lot of flatland. To say it's useful might be overstating it, because most of it is in this no-build zone. So it's going to squeeze a bit of what I can do, but that's alright. It's all going to be squeezed in the direction of these existing cities. So, regrettably, I'm going to tear down everything there is and then rebuild it anew. Hopefully it doesn't take as long as making the first hub does. I imagine the process should speed up, but it's still going to be laborious. Oh, it's definitely going to be laborious. So it's going to be Landsberg, Posen, Lisa, Oplen, and Orlov, I think. Let me double check that with my map. It might not include Orlov. Let me double check. What does that look like to you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why do I feel like that's not quite right? It feels like Orlov isn't part of it. Oplen, Lisa, Posen, and Landsberg. Am I missing something here? I am. Breslau, of course. Breslau is part of this hub. Really? Oh yeah, it's a little unclear on my map, but Breslau's on that side of the bridge. Fair enough. Maybe pull a wool from Yellow, Hamburg et al. Down into Poland, because Yellow has 2 wool RGOs. This is true, but this might mean that they focus more on making clothes for people. I don't know about that. In the end, though, there are... hang on, how many wool RGOs are there? Hey, there are 11 wool RGOs, and there are 11 hubs. It's not too late to gerrymander that in. Let's take another closer look at this. I'm not opposed to making changes at the last minute if they're going to be changes for the good. Let's make a considerably larger and more flamboyant way of figuring this out. Make it on a new layer as well. So if you were to go over to here, then that would give Browntown wool, and then the only person lacking wool would be light yellow at the very bottom. Light yellow at the very bottom here would need to get wool, and the only other double wool would be in yellow. So if yellow's got... Wait, yellow has double wool? I'm only seeing single wool here. Oh wait, no, this is the yellow. Who's the other one? Ah, dark red still has double. And I don't think I'm using all the double, am I? No, I'm not. I am not at all. Where are you? Here you are. I might consider doing something like this, where this wool comes in and fills this up. How much wool overproduction do I have in my plans here? There's going to be an excess of almost no wool whatsoever. Which means, oh yeah, of course, because clothes production doesn't quite meet demand. It can't meet demand. You can't have all demands met in this forever. I guess you could meet all demands if you settle for a lower population and much more excess, but it would be very low fulfillment given how hard it is to get enough salt for everybody. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. It's a reasonable option to bring this wool down here, and then I'd have to shunt this wool. Either way, wool is too northernly situated. Wool is going to have to go a long distance, however you cut it. It might as well be from here. So I could make special dispensation for this wool to be going down here. That's going to happen anyway, regardless of the hub system. The only other alternative is that all of that goes into the overflow warehouse. The overflow warehouse takes it down the main overflow pass, branches it off to this warehouse, and then this warehouse redistributes that wool. Really, that might be adding more of a pain rather than just having a direct wool line down that splits off to all of the cities. What do you guys think is going to be more effective? Do we use the wool with the overflow and then bring it in like that? Or do we direct line the wool down? To me, I honestly don't know which is going to be better or worse. The wool means a dedicated line down here. if I add it to the overflow is going to have a lot of wool directly just being brought into here. And the overflow is probably going to be pretty busy shunting between everywhere else as it is. So, does anybody have any preference? Because I don't really. Well, in the heat of the moment, everybody ends up with some preference, don't they? Meh, says Nameless, some other guy. Cuddle Fishman wants us to go for the overflow. Oh, well, it's not even that easy. Bunny Collective is right here. And Twink Fox Asher's right here, so I can't really do dedicated because you're already running a line up to Danzig for Danzig's clothes. Alright then, it's going to be overflow, and if the overflow proves insufficient, then it won't be too difficult to just send it down. In fact, since the overflow warehouse is right here, it wouldn't be too hard to bring it down anyway. Right, well, that takes care of that. What now? Does it include Landsberg? I managed to forget already if this does or does not include Landsberg. It does include Landsberg, so painful as it is, I'm actually going to disconnect Landsberg from everything over here because I want my hubs disconnected, with the sole exception of I need a line from Danzig down to Vienna because I have a task here to bring 9,000 people directly from Danzig to Vienna. Now, I don't have to do any of these. None of these are stipulations for the perfect Hansa, but I figure while we're here, we might as well have something resembling a game to play instead of just Spreadsheets United. So, what do we do? This is going to be very unfortunate for all the other trains involved here. They're going to eventually yell at me saying I can't get to Landsberg, no route available. To which I say, well, too bad. Maintenance buildings get demolished, all of these places get expanded. Posen's probably going to have to face downwards because I do want you coming down through Lisa. That's alright, it's not too big to make a curvy line coming through here as long as the curves are pretty big. I don't want these maintenance buildings, so I'm demolishing them. The reason for that should be obvious, truly. But I don't want these to be clogged up with people waiting to get repairs in them. That just doesn't make any sense. So down they go, even if they're free. Now I have two different ideas about maintenance. One is that maintenance can always be done in RGOs and always be done between cities. That covers every train that I can think of. I guess warehouses are also okay to do repairs in. I'm not entirely sold on that yet, though. But I have another idea. It might be that I run my Hansa with 0 supply stations and 0 repair stations. I am strongly considering that, because it would be very little overhead for me at a certain point in the game to just click, replace all locomotives. Oh no, 8 million marks. Well, that's a reasonable sum right now, but it's going to come to become not a lot of money. I think the engineer should just give maintenance in every city automatically, not just making you do it. Yeah, that would be nice, because it just adds to the clicking. But the thing is, you lose choice if you get rid of that. I'm thinking of just deleting all of the RGOs and lines and rails that I already have here. I did that in the previous place and it worked fine. To be clear, we do not go down to Orlov. Not to Orlov. So I should just get rid of this part already. Let's make sure Oplin is significantly beefed up as well. No maintenance building for you. Expand that station. Yeah, I mean, in the end, this stuff has gotta go, doesn't it? Just have an easier time demolishing all of this. Yes, reset all the trains you have to. It's no skin off my nose. The positioning of Oakland Station might be a bit of a bummer for me down the line, but what won't? It's a lot of work doing all this. A whole lot of work. Just get rid of all of that. Nobody needs it. Hey, look at that. Oh, no, that's a connection bonus far elsewhere. What a pity. Jagger's salt mine and the lines that run between them, these are all going to be redone anyway, so I may as well just crush, kill, destroy. Yeah, sorry, your moo's gotta go too. Maybe you should delete the trains first. That would make a lot of sense. Almost too much sense. Yeah, I had a problem last time because I didn't delete the trains. They kept getting in my way. That would work a lot easier if I went night load and workload trains and then just... Are we even in delete mode here? Oh, I can't keep... Huh? I can't keep this mode and delete mode active. That's a shame. I hope I'm not deleting trains that... Oh, this could be a problem. What if I'm deleting the ones that go from Danzig to Vienna? Come to think of it, those guys are going to face their problems soon enough anyway, so they'll just have to cope with the situation. Night mode's working against me here. Following the footsteps of all major rail lines, he tears up the branch lines in favour of centralisation. That's how it's done, I'm afraid. Don't tell me you're Danzig. You're not. You're Oakland Elkhorn's clearing. There's a lot of stuff that comes out of Elkhorn's clearing, and it is already set up for what I need, so I see little reason to destroy you as is. It's just that this line itself needs improved greatly. So, whatever, I'll just delete it all. Every train that doesn't know what to do, I can just clean up later. I think I'm overthinking this. Usually am. Oh, sorry, mate. You gotta go. There we go, just be done with it. Yeah, Elkhorn's clearing can remain. Okay, I'm almost there. Now, my whole idea of switching out trains instead of giving them anything resembling supply kind of runs contrary to my idea of putting in a repair and supply station between every city. But since I don't think I'd be able to activate such a strategy into the late game, I don't have a problem keeping those in, and it's no big deal to delete them and then put in railways where there are currently these. See, this is something that worries me a bit. Let's say you're riding along here. Oh, but there's a train in the way, so then you move over to one of these things. Then you're going to block somebody coming the other way. I think this is going to be a massive choke point. It's already got way too many trains clogging it up for now. But I'll deal with that as the time comes. I think it's just a question of scaling. A scale that I will be able to handle, he says with remarkable and yet unjustified confidence. I mean, I'm no miracle worker with trains and train lines. If you've ever seen me play Open Transport Tycoon, oh boy, that was some scary levels of ineptitude. But they were my levels of ineptitude. And if I can't win, I'll just change what it means to win. Okay. I think at this point I'd be better off just deleting these and rebuilding them in my image. So, for example, building the first large train station, keeping in mind I'm still on relatively flat land, and we can just happily ignore the land in order to make way with our big old stations. I think I will have you run this way so that I can have you come straight down into Lisa is fine, Oaklin is fine for now. I can always jam a warehouse here. Should keep in mind that they're all probably going to want two stations here. One for RGOs and one for not RGOs. So I should make every effort to give them both. Of course, which side's going to be the RGOs and which side will not, I don't know. Looking at the map, which is something that I should do. There you are, map. Many of the RGOs that they're going to be consuming are on the eastern side here. Sugar beets, wood, vegetables, fruit. I think that grain's actually down on this side. Yeah, but on this side then you've got your salt, you've got your grain, you've got your milk. It's not easy, is it? It's never any bloody easy, is it? But that's okay, one can always bridge over and connect them, so it's just going to be a case of preference, however you look at it. Unless you look at it analytically and correctly. Whatever, just slam in both of these for all the cities anyway, and let God sort them out. long as they're there, I can just build up. And again, Oakland can have a warehouse that sticks quite a bit out compared to the rest of that stuff. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm missing one of them again, aren't I? I've managed to forget if this includes Orlov. Yeah. Ostov, which I keep calling Orlov. Because it looks like Orlov. Matt, help me. I'm too incompetent to remember anything for 5 seconds. No, because I'm forgetting about Breslau again. How is Breslau such a forgettable place? Well, it's in downturn, which is a bad sign. It's only getting 14% of its fulfillment. What a grim, bloody place. I guess I never really cared about you, did I? And there's Jagger's salt mine. Jagger, the non-participant. You're gonna prove to be a real pain in the butt, aren't you, Breslau? Could just give you a couple of terminals here, and then we just plug you in. No, things need to go through Breslau, don't they? So it actually needs to come chugga 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 in and chugga out. Ain't that a shame? Well, double large station it is. I can just cross over these, I guess it's no big deal. RGOs can come in on this side. Okay. As long as Orlov is connected and productive. Well, Orlov is in horrible downturn right now. Because he has no food, and very little food, and no food, and... well, he's got a lot of sausages, but that's all Orlov gets. Sucks to be Orlov. These piggies down here, who do they belong to? They belong to the place just down south, so that's okay. There's coal here, and I think we will be consuming coal. And salt. Salt will also be consumed. Downside of here is that all these places are not at their full capacity or full inhabitants, so they're not at all going to benefit from me giving them, say, fruit or sugar beets or paper. Or... oh no, there's no regular demand for coal. According to my numbers, consumption of coal is going to be... well, they're not going to consume any of it for raw needs. It's just going to be for creating things. And we don't even produce that much coal. The coal is largely going to be needed to produce steel, which is going to be used for tools. Good to know. Very good to know. Alright, game. Right, enough faffing around. Heavens knows faffing is what I'm great at. Let's have our maintenance station here, so it goes from Landsberg over here. I think we'll... yeah, I think the connection between the cities is going to be on the western side then. Plug you in here. Again, it might come to pass that I get rid of these down the line, but we're not at that line yet. Oh yeah, that means Breslau needs to be on that side. Crumbs, then I'll probably move you over a bit. I've kind of done myself a bit of a disservice by... I'm not even sure I moved you. By having such a short stream of this today. What I need to do, and this is all Rune Factory's fault really, I need to just sit down with this game for a massive session and just bash through these hubs. Because if I do it one at a time, it's going to take me like 3 weeks just to do all the hubs with these shorter sessions. That's not what the Perfect Hansa is all about. That's not what the Perfect Hansa has ever been about. I sat down and did monster sessions of Patrician 4, and I should be doing monster sessions of this. Bridges, we don't care. Actually, I care a bit now. Actually, I care quite a lot. The thing about bridges is I can only put 2 of them together at a time. So these guys will have to find a different way of handling the situation. However, I can quite happily afford all the bridges I want. Out of that. You're right, it's pretty good. Minimizing incline is something well worth spending dough on at this point. because... Get the tighter one in first. We can afford it, and ultimately it's going to make my trains run faster, and faster trains will invariably be better trains as long as they can actually get and maintain those speeds. I worry about things like breakdowns, extended periods at maintenance stations. The character I'm using is actually very terrible for late game because he increases the amount of time my I was about to say boats here, but I'm not paying partition. The amount of time my vessels, let's go with that, the amount of time my vessels spend on repairs, which is going to be significant. Unfortunately, in this game, your trains need a lot of maintenance. Which reminds me, I need to delete the name maintenance station everywhere. I don't like it popping up as often as it does. Power through Rune Factory tomorrow and Friday and do the whole next week of Monster Railway Empire sessions. Ooh. Now, I don't say this often, TBW, but that is a good idea you have. I do think that the end game of Rune Factory 5 is coming up. It's just, I'm not basing that off of anything I know about the game, but it's what I think is coming up. So I might just power through it tomorrow. Part of me really does kind of want to be done with Rune Factory 5, and that sounds like a horrible thing to say, but I don't mean it in a horrible way. What I mean is that I've already been at the game for quite a while, and it's not the game that I'm going to do all of the post-game for on stream, because, let me be quite honest, that game is tiring to play. All that translating, only to have somebody yell at me for not knowing my conjugations well enough. Jesus Christ. Give me a break, that stuff is hard. Now, I do love the game, and I do even enjoy streaming it, but man is it tiring, and boy does it eat up the schedule. Believe it or not, I do have other games I want to play. So I think powering through it, maybe even taking all of tomorrow evening to just power through it might not be a bad idea. Tomorrow's already a little bit awkward because I've got a dentist trip in... Well, I was meant to have a dentist trip in the afternoon, but he last minute changed it to the morning. So it's already going to be a bit up in the air. So I might just take the whole time, and to hell with anybody who lambasts my localizations. Just get it done. Which never feels like the right attitude for these kinds of things, but it's going to be my attitude. Wrong one going in there. Try and minimize the amount of bridging. Well, not the bridging, but the inclining. Jake, how would you play Rune Factory offline, not translated? What? I mean, I would just play more of it, but I don't really understand the question there. I would continue to read it myself and do my best to translate it myself, and it'll probably go smoother because I'm not going to try to talk it out to other people. Alright, let's kill these names of maintenance stations because I don't like the way they show up on the map. And I'm very, very happy that the game lets you completely delete them. Lots of games, when you try to put in null names, it doesn't like it. It doesn't like it one bit. There we go. That's not enough though. I need to make bypasses. There she goes. This means that anybody who wants to go from A to C and doesn't end up wasting their time in B. Or in this case, anybody that wants to go from Landsberg to Lisa or beyond does not have to go through Posen. They should save time and stop anybody clogging up Posen further. I know I haven't done any signaling. I will do all of the signaling at the end here. Right, I need to do much and such the same for Lisa though. Unfortunately, since it's coming out either end of the maintenance stations, these trains can choose their directions here. So if I just bring you in like so. I hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot by making trains spend time jumping between tracks, because there's going to be a lot of trains running between these cities. It's actually a fairly major concern of mine that there are going to be so many trains running between these cities that these tracks are going to be saturated. But if that's the case, I'm sure I can find a way to just add more tracks for them, or offload in a different way. Because I can just build more warehouses, for example, and say, right, clearly this between city track is too much for my trains to handle, so I would just give them an option to go to warehouses instead. I think I underutilize warehouses. Alright, they're not the prettiest bypasses, I'll admit, but they are bypasses. Might even add to the travel time if, let's say, going through Breslau was was an opportunity. Might actually kill it a bit. Well, too bad. Oh man, I forgot how little fun it is to do the signaling. Feels good when it works right, but if you screw it up, oh boy, it can be painful stuff. There we go. These signals are implicit, but I should make them explicit. Somebody was in awe at my terminology once for calling it implicit and explicit signaling. Maybe I imagined that they were in awe, but they still were, even if I imagined it. The Queen expects every man to do his duty to the crown. Oh yeah, I propagate left-hand drive and the Queen's English wherever I can. Thank goodness. Could you imagine doing this if there wasn't the automatic punctuation of signaling here? If you had to put them down manually for every single one. Because here I'm holding shift and control and it automatically puts it down there and there and there for me. But if you were to do them just one at a time, oh jings, the pain would be immense. And I know immense pain. I really do. Right, keep it coming, keep it coming. What did somebody say? They said, good luck with the perfect Hansa, I just hope this one doesn't take 166 episodes. Well, it won't, but that's largely because I'm not chopping this up into half-hour segments for this. They're going up as is. I've yo-yoed a lot on that one over the past, you know, how long do I make the VODs? And I've come to the glorious conclusion that it really doesn't matter. So I'll stick with that. Okay, so it's all signals, it's all going between the cities, that's good. We don't do the trains until the very end, so I'm not going to set them up with that right now. I need the rather painstaking approach of doing the RGOs. I'll do the math to see how many 30-minute bits this one will take, don't you worry, Jake. Oh, well, I think the playlist is already approaching 60 or 70 hours. So how many oh. Oh dear. Oh well. What can you do? Right. If you make flyovers, the trains will only block one lane by merging. Okay. I don't know what you mean by he saw it. I just realized how incredibly long the playlist would be. Although if there's something obvious I'm missing about my tracks, then please tell me. I still feel like an unruly toddler when I'm doing my signals. As long as they work, they're fine signals. Right, what am I thinking here? I'm thinking about getting the RGOs in. I should start with grain, although grain is the more awkward one as I recall. Yeah, grain is right here. No. Actually, perhaps not. Just needs to go out there, there, and there. So if I just have a good spinal cord line here and branch off, I'll be fine, I'm sure. However, Sihoa's meadow here is tiny. Also, this farm is tiny and deserves to be owned by me. Let's take over Sihoa's meadow first and foremost. Also, say goodbye to that train. And I can just copy names Delete you and add in a large train station. Shame I can't put terminals in these, but so be it. Yeah, you can actually go out the backside to Breslau. You could actually go out the backside to both of these places, no problem. Do you have a raw estimate of how many trains per month the city needs? I'd rather not think about that, because the game has a hard limit on the number of trains. And if I were to come smashing into that, I'd be in for a very, very bad time. Right, how do we do you, Breslau and Oplin? Because in the end, there's a lot of RGOs to be bringing in here. I mean, I could just have these be the ones that come out the back side and go straight into you. It's a little sloppy, by which I mean it's a lot sloppy. But it will get the job done, and I can have all the other grain come up top side. That's a great opportunity to make Breslau the pastry place. It's already the pastry place. Alright, how about that becomes my pastry place? And we immediately upgrade it for astronomical costs, because the doctor guy pays through the nose for that stuff. Want to go over like that? Hey, that's surprisingly smooth. TBW laughing saying he saw it worries me, because I don't think I saw anything he's talking about. Makes me think I made a mistake with my my railway setup, which is more than possible, but that doesn't mean I know what the mistake is. I slam supply towers down on both of these. That's a bad idea overall, because I'm going to forget about supply towers and things, but there you go. Especially this one isn't so good. But still, that supplies those two, so fair dues. Now. You need to get up onto a regular old route between these. I would never. I just pictured you looking at the playlist size on YouTube. It's very substantial. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It is going to be longer than the Patrician 4 one at this rate. Which is not right. This was never intended to be longer than that. But that's intentions, right? It's our road to hell. Okay. You get up and on like that. And I can also have you up and following some other route. Happy-go-lucky up to here. And of course I want you to head over to Landsberg as well, so I can just have a split off here. It's going to be complicated if it doesn't give us enough room through all of this, especially with the piggies right there. There is the other opportunity that I just cut right across and over all this. But I would like to keep as much of my RGOs flowing on this side as possible, since that's where I gave it the area for, so... Tunnel already? I don't think there was any tunneling. It was just earthworks. Earthworks is not the same as tunneling, far from it. And knowing that difference could save your life, but probably won't. I'm almost certainly going to need a triangle approach here. Because anything coming up here is also going to want to arc around into there. Alternatively, I bet you could do something like... Well, that's exactly what I'm thinking you'd be doing, but apparently the game's not happy with that. Perhaps I need to drag this one out first. Yeah, I should complete the line over to Landsberg. Firstly and foremostly. Guys, it's a fair bit of trekking, isn't it? Oh well, arms the brakes. Enjoy your bridge. kind of blocks you off a bit, but it's okay, you can go over these, it's no biggie. Here's your VOD tithe, says Emperor Zerg. I don't know, with the performance I do on making these railways, sometimes I'm not so sure it's worthy of a tithe. But fit Kinnamandi. Oh, that's right, somebody was asking me about that earlier. It's a question I get every now and then, and more often than not it's with the YouTube VODs, but they say, what is it you're saying? You're saying something like, fit Kinmindi, and I don't understand what it means, they say. Well, it's fit Kinamindi. What can a man do? It's kind of a idea of dejection here. There's no other choice, but what can you do? I feel like this is going to be kind of another choke point with things going in and out and mucking about for all of these. Yeah, I worry about that being a choke point, truth be told. Oh well, I'll try not to use it overly then. So that should connect the wheat up to everywhere. I'm going to double check because I'm not so confident with my rail building this early on. Goes to Breslau, goes to Oplin, it goes up through to Lisa, Posen, and all the way around to Landsberg. Good enough. Well, if that does them for grain, next up are the piggies. Now, who's going to be our meat maker? Do I own any of these meat industries? I do not. You're really close to Posen, so just doing a back and forth to Posen makes the most sense to me. I wonder if I can just buy this straight up. Yeah, there we go. My sausage making facilities now. So if I just make the fatteners go over to Posen, that's great. The trouble is this farm covers both, and that's not good enough. I want to segregate. It's my favorite thing. So. Let's go with a large train station with signaling station right here. Honestly, you should only be going to Posen with this. There's no reason to do anything else. So a dedicated line should take care of it. I just hope I can squeeze this in. Hey, I can. Well, that is extremely fortunate now, isn't it? There you go. Oh yeah, the RGOs should all have the maintenance buildings. Before I forget, RGO's maintenance is fine. Although again, I might kill that later on. That's going to be a pain to click through all of them. What else is a pain is that I don't have a name for both of these. I have a Mur Farm, which I believe is my vegetable name. It is, but I don't have one for piggies here. So I think we're going to call you Mr. Modesty's Lands. How many places do I have? Oh, I still have a few, so I can still call it Mr. Modesty apostrophe S. We only have 18 characters for these names. So let's get rid of Mur Farm here and rebuild it as good as new. Large train station, signaling control, and this has a lot of places. A lot of places to shove these veggies. This is the big on plinky plonky stuff playing, and I like it. I like it quite a bit. It's very fitting. Away that goes. Do I own you? I should own you. I should own you as well. Maybe hold off on spending all of my bleeding money right now. I don't need to own any of these, especially when they can level up themselves without me having to do it, because me expanding businesses is expensive. Getting ahead of myself though. You go here, and that's all there should be needed. Posen should be able to produce enough sausages to meet the demand for all these places, although I will upgrade it as need be. Tyrion says, I haven't had time to watch a lot of these yet. Did my name get placed in? Have you indeed? I don't know. I'd have to check my list of names. Can you remember what you were? There's a lot of names. Tyrion's pig iron. No, we haven't been tapping into iron at all, I think. Do we even use much iron in this planned run? Yes, we actually use all of it, and I think it's all going to be turned into steel for our tools. Right, so the pigs only really go to Posen. They don't need to come out to anywhere else. It's a shame I can't build a terminal station on those, but it is what it is. These tates, on the other hand, have got to go to everywhere. Everywhere needs vegetables. Can you really call a potato a vegetable? I have a hard time thinking of it as a vegetable. So. Might be easier just to shove you straight into Posen and make one of these other lines even more busy. Because look, it just feels so clean to do it like this. So clean I can't even say no to it. I can get a lovely discount on it. Of course, that's not good enough, is it? I should have one of you take the northern route over to Landsberg as well. I worry too about Landsberg having too much of a busy line here. I could do more in the way of dedicateds. But to that extent... now what I can do actually is branch you off. Nothing in the rules against branching off here. There are no rules when it comes to making my railways. I mean, you could join in there, or you could join another line that goes up. It's just that the other RGO of like fruit and salt. Actually, that fruit and salt might be. The fruit is part of this hub, the salt is not. There's also wood to consider. The wood is right here and needs to be fed down as well. Alright, you know what these guys are going to do? They are going to run parallel to you and be a straight, clean run into here, with one slight issue being these blessed bridges, which do not I guess that'll do. It's a little fugly, but 4% incline's a bit steep. That's better. Oh god, what? Maybe that's not better. We got enough mud. Took all the mud from Baron's runs of Actraiser 2 and combined it into this. Alright. Good as gold. You guys just meet up there, and then we can run the Tates up to Landsberg, directly into Posen, and then all the other Tates will run a route down in that joins up to this. No, they should not. They really should not. They should come off here and split off into Lisa's backside. Just seems more fitting that way. And then, see, I knew I was making a mistake with Oplin and Breslau, because they're running through Sihoa's meadow here, which is not so hot. I don't like that. I'm going to fly over that meadow. Right. Or I could actually have them come out this side. That way they're going to be less disruptive to all of this. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. That way these three are taken care of nicely. That's just a case of getting into Lisa. Alright, how does the game think I should go into Lisa? The game has a bizarre sense of humor. Let's move you over considerably. Oh, I would love to tunnel through that. Wait, what? Apparently that's a 1185% income. Oh, okay, well I concede the point, game. I concede the point. But that is way too much bridging. Too tight as well. Narrow it down a bit. 6% incline is more than acceptable. Why are you so out here, though? Could we not just bring it over a bit, please? This is weird. Okay, well, I guess it wants to avoid too much of an incline here. Yeah. Acceptable. as long as the second one works for it as well. Hope I'm not too much getting in the way of Lisa's possibilities of having a warehouse, because it would go here. I have made a mistake. I have made a considerable mistake. The piggies and the wheat should be going into warehouses. They don't strictly need to, though. So I'm not going to redo it. Because they don't strictly need to. Warehouses are just boppers anyway. When this baby hits 1185 degrees, you're going to see some serious freight. Fun fact, around 20% incline is the most a fully loaded cargo train can manage in perfect conditions. Steeper and the wheels just lose traction. Well, that's a real shame for them, but our trains are made of sterner stuff, Tyrion. You wouldn't know what it's like. Alright, I need to get these veggies down and jam them into Breslau and Oplin. And I could have a bit of a dedicated or even four-way line running down here. It's just a question of how do I deal with Sihoa here. Could have them branch off over here, and then you going into that side is going to be a big pain in my rear end, isn't it? Also have to remember that the wood and the fruits have to come in. Maybe I could actually take it from your point of view. Not a way of operating that I'm overly keen on, but let's do it anyway. So what if you were to just bridge right over that and come all the way up into here? How would you feel about that? You'd feel like you want to take big old angles at it. Well, fair enough. I'll give you what's for. That is one long way to go just to deliver some bleeding vegetables. But I can also cut onto this track with my wood. It's a little tight, but I think I could jam my wood onto that track and make use of it. That's where you come in as well, Sunshine. You are your own track, but I still want you to follow down here because it's nice and smooth. And then you branch off to come into Oplin like so. I am burning through this money. I am slightly concerned when things start getting a bit more complex and a bit more full of tunnels and bridges that I will not have the money to see this through. However, I will do my damnedest. A lot of track. Looks like it could use a maintenance station. It could, but I'm going to deal with maintenance stations later on. Otherwise, I'm going to lose track of things very easily. Okay. What I definitely should be doing, though, is getting my signaling going. Queensway or the highway. Oh, bollocks. Oh, ho, ho. That was a misclick and a half. Hopefully, we can instantly fix that with a single click of the rail. I can. Thank goodness for that. Got too carried away doing things the Queen's way. There we go. I'm sure I've missed some. I've definitely missed some. Should really be taking more care to do my signaling as soon as I'm done with these sorts of things. Right, you have implicit signals, so let's make it explicit. I feel like I'm missing a good opportunity for a signal right here. That seems like a long way to go with no signals. No. If any of my signals are messed up, my trains will be sure to yell at me about it. My trains are better at yelling at me when things are wrong than people in chat, and you'd think that would be chat's specialty. Like when I accidentally leave the static image of my planning screen covering the stream for a few minutes. Does anybody think to actually tag me and say, Jake, the image is covering it? Not for far too long. Oh, it's no skin off my nose. I don't have to watch this. I wonder how much of the Perfect Hansa Patrician 4 thing I watched myself. Not as much as some people, though. I'm keen to bring this number up, but there are people out there who have watched the Perfect Hansa Patrician 4 run 4 times and are contemplating a 5th. This is the kind of company that you have for these streams. Enjoy that thought. Oh, I've flipped this around, haven't I? Not entirely sure if I've signaled it all up, but good enough for now. It's not like 10 people told you about the mishap before you even glanced at the chat. It doesn't matter whether you say it or not. What matters is if you ping me, then things show up in red. Just like what Earl von Woomer says when he says, some iterative testing, should we let go and see what you've done to operate, also save? Well, I shouldn't really need to save. This game has no issues with crashing on me so far. Although you make a good point, there's no auto-saving because I'm not running the game. So, wonderful. Okay. The veggies are in, the wheat is in, the pigs are in. Next up is the fruit. Fruit has an easy way into Oplin, which probably translates to an easy way into Breslau. I think I would arc it. Wait, no, Breslau makes that. That needs to be a dedicated wheat route. I could actually just bring in the fruit over and through into Breslau with its veggie line. But then the other 3 need their fruit. Fruit isn't something that people eat tons of, but it's an important RGO to share out. The downside right now is that there is a downside. Just think about it, Jake. There we go. The downside is, of course... yeah, there we go. The cities are not generally large enough for it. I'll give this one a really wide berth. It's close enough that this isn't going to be the most happening track around. So cities are only going to start demanding fruit when they're at a population of 44,500, and these cities, by and large, are not. Because I neglected them. Good word, that. Neglect. It has a certain elegance to it. Alright, let's get you over to... Over to where? Are you saying you should all take this route? I don't know, I feel like I'm underutilizing this part if I don't put it to use. Oh man, look at all that underground I could have. It's delectable. 8% incline ain't nothing. Is that the right side to be hooking it up to? It is. I got some wise guy who's given a thumbs up midstream. I used to always keep myself offline when playing, but I found that's caused me problems on Steam before. Could be worse though. Could be on Awesome Games Done Quick right now and having people with all sorts of inappropriate names suddenly add me. But that's really funny. Really, really funny. Right, that's you coming in here. I only signaled one of them though. Speaking of which, I haven't heard much about that. When's the next Summer Games Done Quick? I mean, the event has kind of collapsed into a cringe fest, but it's still a cringe fest for which I have fond memories. I should sneak you into both of these, huh? Yeah, definitely should. Alright, let's get fruity. I want to get you into here, but I also want to do you via this side. That's not a bad way of doing it, but 17% incline is absurd. Yes, let's do that and make it 16. Come on, game, there's got to be a better way. Yeah, you know what? I like the inclusion of these underpasses. I'll go for it. Are these Italian railways? Because they look like a pile of spaghetti. Believe it or not, I didn't actually want to have spaghetti lines here. But in the end, I need all these RGOs to go to all these cities, and I can only think of spaghetti to make that work. Now maybe there's a non-spaghetti solution, but oh my, we just happen to have this very Italian-sounding theme popping up. It's not Italian, it's French, but I'm gonna stick with that. Now I need you to come in on this side as well. If you're going over to those, and I do fear that I'm making this too much of a choke point. If I can get you onto this line, you'll be able to go over to Posen and Landsberg, no problemo. So how do you like that? The answer is they don't at all. That's a long stretch. That just counts as a single element. A single element's the wrong word. There we go. Far rather have a steeper incline. A single signal segment is what that is. Holy crapola, that's tough. Should have done tighter first, but it worked out fine. Alright then. This is going to be so much worse when I have to do this in the mountainous regions of southern gross Germany. Alright, now that's going to connect the fruit up with Posen and with Landsberg, and probably really saturate those lines in an unpleasant and unforgiving manner. But it's what we've built, and it's what we're sticking to. Make those implicit signals explicit. Alright, not too shabby. In fact, if I check with my RGO list, we've managed to do everything important on this side except for wood. Wood is, however, extremely important. And unlike the other one, oh yeah, sugar beets as well. How could I forget about you? Milk is easier to forget about because milk isn't demanded until a certain amount. You don't even demand milk domestically, you just want it for your dairy products, which I will be getting rid of in due time, but for now the cheese is okay. Maybe you should connect the Waverley line up. The wheat line separates off north. What? Maybe you should connect the weave line up the wheat line I don't speak French. Oh, one thing I do need to do is make sure that the line to Vienna isn't completely cut, as painful as that might be. Especially since I cut it off largely there. That is a joke of a track. No train could conceivably clear that hump. But clear it must. Let's see, that is part of the intercity lining, right? No, this is the main city line. This is the RGO line. Whoopsie doodle. Why in God's name did I connect the... Oh, right, I see the problem that I've made now. I connected the fruit to the intercity line instead of the RGO line. Oh, glad I caught that. Very glad I caught that, actually. Something sure wasn't right with that. Something is continuing to not be right with us. At times it might be reasonable to ask, why does he go through all this, right? What does he have to prove? He already did the campaign of the game. Why do a second perfect Hansa? And I don't really have a good answer to that, other than it just feels like it's something I have to do. I feel this force within me compelling me to do these things in games. Made a bit more sense with Patrician 4, since I already knew and loved that game. Although it was a bit of an abusive love. Alright, there we go. Now you plugged into the RGO, and now I still have a route that takes me down into Orlov. And that means I'm going to have to connect the... well, I'm going to have to connect something from Danzig down here. Danzig already goes down through Thorn and Bromberg, so Bromberg itself just needs to connect. I don't know, I could collect you to Landsberg. It'll make these trains be a colossal pain in someone's buttocks, but that someone only might be me. Which side is this going to be? Oh well, 50-50. Hey, I won the coin flip. Is there a trucking company simulator? Yeah, there's Euro Truck Simulator 2, the best in the business. Maybe someday someone will come and take that throne, but they haven't so far. It'd be fun if someone could find a game where Jake can create a perfect road network in Germany of all three major methods of freighting made a perfect way. Oh, so what we have the boats, we have the trains, and we have the roads. Road freighting is considerably less exciting to me. I think it's because a lot of the agency is given to the drivers. Yeah, but you could say the same thing about people that ride the boats. The boats have unlimited agency, really. What was I doing before this? I managed to forget entirely. I connected up the fruit. I did indeed connect up all the fruit. I was looking at the wood. Yes, the wood needs to be connected. Easy connection to Landsberg. And I could easily bring it down... Oh, I should directly line it into Posen, I think. Because then Posen, I could destroy the food industry and replace it with the paper and newspaper industry. Yes, brilliant idea. I'm going to start with that right now. Your sauerkraut industry is now one with the dust, and it is now becoming my very own paper mill. Thank you, good night, and much love. There, destroyed. So I run the wood directly into Posen, and I do another one that goes over to Landsberg. Do I have the capacity to squeeze it out around the other side? Yes and no, mostly no. I'm actually going to copy the name and delete you with that in mind. So let's build a, not a terminal station, much as I would love to do a terminal station. Large train station like so, dear. There, that should suffice. Bad name. Keep it to Elkhorn. Now, when I pointed out that I was running low on names of people to put into this, I didn't seriously expect people to be like, "Oh, I want to be in Jake's massively his really passionate run of crapola. That's in the way of train tracks. Damn it! I just built this and I've got to delete it, and it costs me to delete and it costs me to rebuild. Oh, well, that was poorly thought out. Bye-bye, money. Anyway, people... I didn't think people would really want to join in just for that, but believe it or not, I did. Because I'm still short on some names. But that shouldn't be a problem until we're connecting up the very last of the hubs. So Elkhorn can make his way directly into Posen. And you going into Lindsberg is a similar and considerably easier affair. However, I can't quite connect you up yet. I need to have you specifically come out to here. And make your way over. Ka-ching. Posen job market's having quite a time. That's funny. You're a funny guy. But funny as you are, Thubs, laughter is not going to get us anywhere in Germany. Their humor is no laughing matter. Right, let's see. Signaling for that side done. Get the other one done as well. Alright, that's all well and good for these two guys as wood, but you know, I've got 3 other cities to supply with the things. I might have been overly ambitious thinking that this might be faster the more I do these. Right, I need this to be as wide as it gets. How far out can you go? Because I need this space for other... Cremolas. What's going on here? There we go. That should allow all of these to arc their way around. Sure, it's not going to be comfortable for anyone involved, but that's Germany. Right, you'll come down here and you're going to have to split off some way, somehow. You already go into Posen, but you need to make your way into Lisa and these two. Now, these two I could easily do. If only these were all part of one thing, I could get them all through. I could have them like switcheroo here, and then they can choose whichever way they want to go, which is not the worst idea, but it might not be the best. I might just have this one branch into two that connect up on both sides. Oh boy, which side is the right side to do here? I think that's right. Right is incorrect. Stay stuck to there, get in there. That's all well and good, but we need a break off. Break off should start on the other side. Like that at all, sunshine. I mean, I kind of want you curving around like that, but I think you need to come out a bit further on. And thinking about it, you need to connect into somewhere like there, and hopefully you will be accepting of a similar proposition. Oh boy, that goes in! Oh boy. Tighter than a duck's arse, but every bit as accommodating. We managed to get up and over there. Sometimes it gets really unhappy about doing these inclines next to other tracks there, but it got in there. Excellent. Flash you out with our signals. One of those tracks doesn't have one-way signals. Which one? I've got a lot of tracks now. They're kind of hard to keep track of. Well, these are the ones I was busy building recently, and they all seem to have them. Oh, I see what you mean. They're not one way. Oh, now they are. Oh. That's okay. Only one of them really needs to be one way. Alright, so that's all them taken care of. The only person that still really needs it is Lisa. How do I get my wood to Lisa? I don't know. Lisa's not particularly accommodating, but I could use the veggie line again. In fact, I could have you just branch off and connect over to here. Would be even nicer if I could have this just completely branch off like so, but I don't think the game will like that. Not with so many tracks going on. Well, I will be damned. I can't believe it's allowing that. It's going to be one busy bit, but it's not going to be busy for the it's not going to be busy for this line. Not at all. Well, unless this somehow bites me in the rear end, but it should be okay. And then I can have you spill over to this. I just have you come all the way around. Perhaps not the most elegant or efficient, but I'm sure neither of those things are important for Germans. Yeah, I have come to a decision. I need to just spend 1, maybe even 2 solid days building these, and it will be the longest, most mind-numbing episode of this entire thing on the playlists. This just feels like something I need to enter the zone for. Doing these bite-sized chunks ain't for me. But that's okay. I have the freedom to make these kinds of life decisions. Probably not what my parents expected of me. They wanted me to become an accountant, because they saw I was good with numbers and figured I could get rich that way. Well, I'm happy to disappoint. What is this thing? It's a sitting pile of money for me, that's what. Away you go. Righto, everybody's been given the basic of basics. Now they need the slightly less basics. Well, they've got the fruit as well. I need to bring on the sugar beets and the milk. And if I do the sugar beets and the milk, according to my paint.net diagram here, we'll have you done, you. We don't bother with feldspar yet. Or do we? We got feldspar here and we got coal here. I could easily make a porcelain industry around here. I will consider. I'm going to do milk. Hey, we've got more feldspar here. I think I'll actually gerrymander you out. Beer needs to be considered, but it's really close to both of these. We've done fruit, we've done you. And salt needs to go. So salt does go in the pile. Did I do salt up here? No, they lacked salt. Interesting. Salt is something that there's far too few of on the map. Few of? That doesn't make sense. Well, there's not a lot of salt on the map. If I simply feed the beets onto this existing network, can they get everywhere? Especially if I put them on both sides of this. They could come all the way down here and go into Laza. But then they end up going through Sihoa's Meadow, which was a bad idea. I should have had Sihoa's Meadow go onto an existing line here. That'll stop a lot of pain from all this. But that's alright. It's pain that can be taken away with by just building more. And I mean a lot more. Oh, crumbs. I plugged you into the wrong one here. These are the kind of mistakes I worry that I'm making more of and just not seeing. We're still looking at the map, Jake. See? Thanks. You actually pinged me about it, Avi. Fantastic. That's what we're looking for. Also, this is the thing that doesn't have signals. Doesn't really need many signals, but there you go. Professional map painter streamer. I drive trucks and paint maps. I wouldn't be surprised if that's still what my bio says. I must have written that in 2014. It was a lot truer back then. Right, what are we going to do with you then? I can get you into Landsberg easily enough, but I need to feed you down to all the others. Just like all the others. Yeah, similarly I can feed you into all of these. Wouldn't be too much bother. In fact, if I just fed you into the wood part here, the wood goes into all of them. Lisa, Breslau, and Oplin. And it's just a case of putting you directly into Posen and Landsberg. Seems like a good idea even. I'll take it. Oh, but I need a sugar beets farm name. I think we do. There we go. You're going to be Von Noodles Co. You shoved in there. How's the other side come into all this though? How do I get you down to Lisa? Oh wait, you're already connected to there. I just need you into Posen. This is the Posen RGOs. How do I connect you up? I could just filter you in like so, couldn't I? Just gotta branch you off. Ooh, I like doing undergrounds. It's not the most efficient in any capacity, and it's far from the cheapest, but it just feels like the right thing to do. And if it feels right, I'm all for it. And if it feels wrong, well, jury's out on that one. Clearly the next step in Jake's freight career is to play Train Sim. Which Train Sim? I actually used to stream Train Sim, and then I thought it was actually pretty bollocks, so I didn't continue on with it. It just wasn't exciting as a game, in my opinion. And believe it or not, it is important to me if something is exciting as a game. I remember Train Sim, that was an awful game. It just... I don't know how you do it for a living, Tyrion. It's just like... Let's go forward. Okay, continue. Same way for the next few hours. Okay. Well done, you've reached your destination. Make sure you stop properly. Yep, well done, you win. Here's nothing, because this game has no additional company building aspect to it. And then you just feel really empty on the inside. That's no fun for anybody, especially not me. Alright, I foresee this being a bit of a choke point, but it won't be too bad, because it just eats the wood and the sugar beets. And both of those aren't too rough on the demands. So, great, that's taken care of as well, although this is not signaled up. I feel like I'm missing one. Did I shove you into Posen? I did not shove you into Posen. No, I did shove you into Posen. Then we are good. Alright, McCain's moves are up next. Also, I did not give you a... I did not give you a maintenance station. I have a feeling you're not the only one I forgot to give a maintenance station to. Would you look at that? None of them on Elkhorn's clearing. And does that mean I missed out on the fruit as well? Of course it does. Also, what kind of name is Erhrdit Manor? It's a pretty terrible one. Let's get a good fruity name going. Why yes, I think we might just have one. Gotta remember to fill them in yellow or else I'll forget what I put here. Excellent. Derwin's Meadow. Blushing Meadows. Right, I need this milk to go into the back of Landsberg. I might not have a lot of space for that, but I will make an attempt. Needs to go up into Posen as well, and these places are getting busy, aren't they? Should be easy enough to jam you into Lisa. And then if we're going into Lisa, it shouldn't be too hard to also get into Breslau and Oaklin. I could make a bypass for Sihoa's Meadow. Wouldn't be that easy though, would it? No, of course it wouldn't. Oaklin has this one though. Yeah, I've made myself a big problem by putting everything through Sihoa's Meadows train station there, but I'll just have to live with that. I'm not going to redo it, heavens no. McCain's moves, on the other hand, they're going to have to deal with being beleted and replaced, because you can't just upgrade to large signal stations. Now you might reasonably say, Jake, why didn't you just set up for this before? You know, when you were building everything else, why didn't you consider that this is what you were going to do? Well, I did. The difference was that back when we were starting out our illustrious career here, we didn't have a lot of money. In fact, we had a lot of anti-money. We spent most of this game in debt. 13% incline on that sharp a curve? Sign me up. So I generally made everything as cheaply as I could. Oh god, unlike this, but that's contours for you. Ah, this good music. Sounds like Treno from Final Fantasy IX. Okay, Landsberg will get McCain's moves. How about Posen? Milk is not something that is in high demand, so I can easily split this one. Cargo is a little more involved with shunting and on-the-spot troubleshooting, but yeah, it's a lot of sitting and going forwards. Good pay, though, and time to listen to audiobooks. Now that I can believe. But, you know, that's something that you do for, I assume, largely for the money. If you were to suddenly find yourself with a massive influx of cash such that you never had to work again, Tyrion, I would hazard a guess that you would stop driving trains. Of course, that is very presumptuous of me. Maybe your love of trains transpires that which mortal man could ever conceive of, but I have a funny feeling that it's not. Can we go underground here, please? That's generally a no. Oh, but also a yes. A very yes. Excelente. 30-minute saving, thinging, also supply station. I'm not going to worry about supply stations until the end. As for the saving, normally I wouldn't give two hoots, but you do make an excellent point. Because we crashed during Rune Factory 5 and lost like 10 minutes of progress. I don't want to lose that again. Signaling is another matter entirely. Always signal. No reason not to. Post-send's getting a little chonked up with things flying in, but that should be okay. That does mean all of Lisa and the other two are coming out at the bottom here. Might be a bit much. Might be so much of that I'd be tempted to have you split off over to here. Oh, don't tell me it's too tight. You won't tell me it's too tight, because it's not too tight. Oh, yes. Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, it's kind of hideous, but that's beautiful. This poor Germanic countryside being ruined by my grand visions. Great, that leaves me able to dedicate both of, well, this one line to both Breslau and Oplin. The question is how I do that. Because I didn't give myself good options for this. No signals out one end of the milk station. Ah, thank you. Thank you, thank you. That's incredible, that is, that somebody would point that out. Because it means not only are they 1.5 hours deep of what I can only assume is a skull-numbingly boring stream, but they're also paying attention. Paying attention to this. I mean, it beggars belief, truly. Right, how are we doing this? I need to get you into Breslau, and I need to undo this mistake that I've made. Probably by just going straight over Sihoa's meadow and straight into Oaklin. Actually, you could share this grain route. You might think that people guzzle down a ton of grain, but it's surprisingly low, the grain consumption in this. So what are we doing here? Don't want to infringe too heavily onto you, because there is going to be... Can we get in here? Of course we can. There is going to be hop production and distribution. I bet I did the wrong side on this. Oh dear lord, what is that? I don't know. I just know that I don't like it. But we're having it anyway. Go. You know, Breslau should probably be the beer distributor here. Which means you should probably just pump straight into there. Which means undoing what I did again. And bringing them even further down. Okay. Maybe also good to tell people the Queen's Way when you play signals. We don't want people getting the wrong idea about signal. I bring up the Queen's Way all the bleeding time. I think people get it. I make sure my signals are correct. Left-hand drive. Now, you might have a problem with that, and if you do, I'll be on the phone to the Queen first thing in the morning to tell her all about you. Need to worm my way into Oplin here. Now, dancing around all this is going to be nothing short of a colossal pain in the rear end. Especially since I can't branch off of bridges. That's a mistake that I have made here. Big mistake. Big, big mistake. Oh well. Sure there's a way to cope with it. What am I plugging into here? Oplin's line here somehow. This is hideous. Do we have any way to feasibly do this? You can't go underwater. Well, surprisingly, it doesn't mind that so much. This is wrong on so many levels. That is so wrong. It's really wrong because it's plugging into the wrong side there. My god, this is nauseating. Let me try to understand what this route is doing. So instead of going to Breslau, we want to go to Oplin. So we're going to branch off, making this an absurdly tight way to get any kind of beer in here. And then we are going to make a bridge over the edge of this for no apparent reason. Take excess mud to build this part up. Make a bridge over the excess mud that we have created. Bridge over only to go down like this is Space Mountain. Only to come straight back up and back down again because we're riding them on two here. Only to finally go up and branch in with the grain line. It's too horrible not to have, so we're having it. Good grief. I really hope the beer can get into Breslau now. My Germans are going to need this. On the plus side, that does mean that milk gets everywhere now. Blackwin says thanks, I hate it. Oh, TBW. You're a funny guy. I've been here long before these scrubs arrive, and I'll be here after the last of them leave. That touched me. I'll have to start with a tighter one here. How in dickens do we get out of this? Right, this is what we'll start with, and then we'll puzzle out the rest of it. Just gotta do something like... Yeah, okay. Alright, Breslau, to celebrate your... Oh my god, you don't even have the capacity for beer? I'm gonna have to build them up to 40,000 population so that Breslau can turn these hops into beer just so they can drink the problems away. Because I have ruined the greenscape of Breslau. All this is done in a single day, so you wake up out the top of your god-awful squalor here, you gaze out and you go, did we always have 2 train stations? What's those bridges? And why does everything smell of soot? The sheer misery of living in Breslau. Colorized. Righto, the Bumgefart farm here is not a befitting name here for these hops. We're gonna go with, we're gonna go with the Kompau Hoppery. Is a hoppery a real thing? Doesn't matter, because it is now. Does mean I should also check it off on my list. I haven't been consistently keeping up with that list, so I'm certain there are errors on it by now. If they can't appreciate the splendor, then it's their issue. That's the problem, it is their issue. Good thing you have signals on the bridges, makes up for not being able to have them in the tunnels. Okay, is there anything we need to do now? Let's look at the map that covers the screen for far too long each time. And actually, by my estimations, we've gotten through this faster than previous. The only thing we have to consider, well, we need to line up the salt, of course, even though people don't eat it just yet, but the coal and the feldspar. I think I'll avoid activating those for now. Reason being that they're not necessary just yet, because my goal is to get everyone up to 100,000, not 250,000 yet. We'll get to 250,000 later. And the demands for porcelain, which is so well known in Germany, don't kick in until... Oh, I can't even tell that from Danzig. Let's find some backwater like Bayreuth. Yeah, they don't want porcelain until they're at 93,500. It's not even worth considering at the moment. Although I will still need it done. But things like sorting out industry optimally will come later on. Especially considering the fact that I had many, many millions more Dutch marks before we started this. They appear to have been liquidated in a forcible manner. The only last thing to do now for my people is to activate Jagger's Salt Mine, which is a very potent mine, I've come to find. Very potent indeed. Alright, how are we getting all of his saltiness into this? I can plug him straight into Oplin, no doubt. Same with Breslau, I suppose. I could just have the pump up and arc out into both of these. Jake, what's your favourite tower defense game? Plants vs. Zombies? Honourable mention to Gemcraft. Either way, that salt needs to go up. I could bypass Sihoa's meadow and plug into it. That way it should be able to go up into Lisa, Posen, and Landsberg just by plugging into there. That takes care of all of them as long as I get the other ones in. Alright, that makes a lot of sense to me. Slam you down there. No, you're not Nordman's Hollow, you're Jagger's Salt Mine. I reckon I just plug you in like so. Might make it a little busy for that, but so be it. I fear that I've made this too long of a bridge, whereas it could, would, and should have branched off over to Oplin earlier, but that makes this very, very busy. But everything else plugs into Oplin that way. Actually, thinking about it, I could probably plug you into Oplin from the backside just to save on a lot of logistics. Wouldn't even be that rough, I dare say. Might be a little bit rough. We'll figure it out. If it's that side into that side, these need to be the tighter sides. I'd rather go for the less tight sides first. The outers, not the innies. And then it's just a case of bring you right around like a record, baby. Yeah, good enough. Come on, it's only salt. It's not something we consume metric bugger tons of. Beautiful. Why don't you reroute the fruit to the other side of the station? Reroute the fruit to the other side of the station. Reroute the fruit to the other side of which station? Oh, you probably mean this fruit into that side and that one over there. That would make a lot of sense. But that's the problem, really. It makes too much sense. Where's your sense of adventure? That would save me money and a little bit on efficiency. And that's not enough to disturb this pretty cool looking train ride. A username not needed, probably saying, probably crying out for help with that message, exclaiming that they are German and wish every waking day that they were not. Okay, I worry about making this one too congested, which is kind of exactly what I'm doing with this. But I might do it anyway. If I come up and I plug you, if I branch you off and plug you into here, and also into here, it's going to busy up both of them. Actually, I could plug you into here, because that still plugs up that way. Alright, well then, we'll make it so. Unfortunately, I need to branch off of this thing a little bit. There we go, I'm sure you'll find a way. Hey, you do find a way, but... a bit rough, that, but okay. Oh, and that's very much too rough. Can't you go under? 20% incline? Holy moly, that might even be too much for me. Let's drag you over this way. Escalate you a bit. Yeah, that's more the kind of bridges I'm into building. I worry that this is a little too tight though. Let's bring you in a bit. Well, a lot. And elevate you. Elevate your mind like airplane glue. Excellence. Jake is Scottish. Perfection is measured in size, not efficiency where he's from. I've been out of Scotland dangerously long, I'm afraid. So, no fighting it. Right, you still need to branch off, I'm afraid. And you need to branch into this, whether you like it or not, and you're probably not going to like it. That's way too much, oh dear lord, that ain't right. That is so not right. But I can't fight it. It can't be fought. Ah, crumb buckets. Goes into the wrong place here, doesn't it? Right, connect it up there. Find a problem. No, no problems. Build it. Delete that. And just scoop it in. Scoop it in. What the crivens. Just gonna have a rough time with that. That isn't good enough. That really needs to be smoothed out, or else they're gonna have a grim time of getting up there. 20% is bad, 19% is fine. I see how it is. I'm glad you understand. It would be very troubling for us all if you didn't there, Bane. Also, how are you doing, Bane? Now, what is it you guys say? How you being? Is that it? How you going? That's it. How are you going? Well, I know how I'm going, Bane. By rail. Oh, yeah. Okay, and with that, Hub 2 is operational. Not fully operational, though, because it lacks a number of things, not least of all, trains. I think I can only afford about 100 trains, maybe not even that with this. Scuppering my windows for fun and profit, quite well. Insurance scandal, you say? Not something I go for, personally. Too many risks involved. Not good risks, either. Alright, I dread to say that this should be open for business. Oh, and I do dread to say it. Causing global warmings in 1856, this amount of railways? One can only hope. Now, what was the naming convention I used back here? Just Elbing Danzig 1. Alright, fair enough. Oh, jings, I can barely even tell where one city starts here. Should start here. I'll do the intercity stuff first. Choo-choo. What are we actually running with these days? You, what's your name? Actually, you're not even a train. You're a train resupply depot. You're a train. You are a class 121-242. Where am I at with the research on that? How old is that? Not very. In fact, it's quite new. Well, we've got newer. I got the Tafte valve tank, which is, ooh, I got a rail crusher. 78 with 106 power. 86 with 139 power. Is the Tafte valve tankard particularly more expensive? You're 50,000 marks for that. Okay, yeah, that's a lot cheaper here. What about reliability? And all of them. Lower numbers are better for these two, higher is better for that. Seems worse. Don't like this Vale tank. Sorry, Tafte. So, let's get Loco with still the old class 121. And how's this gonna go? Well, a little painfully. Ugh, to think that this is Landsberg 2, that's gonna get confusing. It's gonna get very confusing. So you're just gonna be automatic. They're all really gonna be automatic. But they will be cloned. So I reckon I have 3 go from 1 to 1 and increase that depending on the length. So more of the 121s here. And they go from Landsberg to... Oh, went to the right post in there. To Lisa. Great. Clone, clone, clone. So I have 4 of them going to Lisa. Lisa's the one that's... No, Lisa doesn't buff out the pastries. That's Breslau, isn't it? Oh boy, Breslau's going to be popular. Right, new choo-choo. And this isn't even the RGOs yet, this is just the city-to-city stuff. You to you, and they're going to need a lot of those. 1, 2, 3, 4 clones. Probably still won't be enough, but it'll do for now. I'm going to worry about things like enough trains later on when I come back to these. For now, I just want a functional number of trains. So that's done to 1, 2, and then down to... I feel like I'm missing somewhere. 1, 2... Did I go to Lisa? I already do Lisa? I think I did Lisa. We'll go with that. Anyway, over to Oakland. 1, 2, 3, 4 clones. Don't forget the water towers. I won't. I'll build those later though, once everything's moving. Because then they'll start telling me where they want their water towers. And it'll give me a chance to start making money. Post send to Lisa. It's a short haul, should be fine with just 3 of them for now. I mean, it won't be optimal, but that's okay. I'm not worried about optimal just yet. I'm setting the bedrock for optimal. Down to Breslau, 1, 2, 3 clones. The nice thing is I have to do this fewer and fewer times as we work our way down the cities. Posen connects up with Oplin. Hopefully connecting up the correct Oplin, which suck if I was doing it wrong. Oh god, I'm not giving them the bypasses. And you're not using the bypass. Oh, ding. Actually don't know which side you're using that for. Ah, this is gonna hurt me. I built the bypasses and I'm not always using them. How do I tell you to... Oh god, no. Uh-oh. Since I didn't tell the other ones to use the bypass, they're not going to use the bypass. Also, you're wasting your time by doing it that way. You should definitely be using that on the way out. Wait, why would you then go up to here only to go back out to the... You're just causing me grief, aren't you? Grief is what you do. Damn, I have to go back through the ones I've already made and tell them to use the bypass. Or, I completely ignore this problem. Hey, how's that for thinking on your feet? Ignore the problem. Alright, this takes you from Posen down to Oplin. Fine by me. Probably going to want 3 clones of that. Lisa's up next. 121, Lisa to Breslau. You don't have any bypasses to care about for that, so that's fine. Clone you a couple of times. A new loco, 121 of course. Lisa goes to Oplin, uses the bypass both ways, excellente. Clone, clone, and clone, and then all that's left is Breslau to Oplin, which is going to be fairly simplistic. That money is going away so fast. Maybe I can get a new loan. Just go there, back and forth. 3 of you should suffice. Yeah, actually, a new loan sounds good already. A bank, Well, I've got all these shares that I can sell for reasonable profit. Damn, consumer goods have skyrocketed. What's up with that? What happened to consumer goods such that the share price is worth gorillions? Well, that sounds like my time to sell. Makes me a fat chunk of cash as well. Anybody have a better idea how the stock market works in this game? because I sure don't. Right, start at RGO by RGO, starting with wheat. Fortunately, these don't have to care about bypasses whatsoever. I've already built up my spaghetti. Ignore the problem. Sounds like the tracks are now used solely as an artistic piece. The more you transport, the more the price rises. Sure, but consumer goods? Food, maybe. That's what I do most of. Right, I'm still going with the mixed 121 because it means less thinking by me. And in an operation like this, cutting down on thinking is a pretty good way to do things. Breslau is going to need a lot of wheat, so a couple of those, even though it's a short distance, 2 is almost undoubtedly going to be needed there. A new 121 that goes from Sihoa to... Oh, I haven't been naming them, have I? I was told that not naming them is going to kick me in the balls. However, naming them seems like such a hassle. Maybe I can get away with not doing it. One of you to Oakland will probably be fine. I'm going to make 2 anyway. Actually, why did I make 2? Oh well, it's easier to just leave it be than try and fix that. One of you should be fine. The thing is, I can make more later when the cities are large and need more everything. There's no need to do that right now, except for the routes that are quite far, then it's worth making more. Of course it's worth making more, because these guys are far away and doubtlessly gonna be hungry. Alright, grain done. I'm working my way from top down. Piggies to Posen. Posen's gonna need at least 2 trainloads of piggies coming in. Modesty's lands to Posen, in and duplicated. Might seem like overkill for such a short journey, but believe me, it's just the right amount of kill. Veggies. You have no grounds to believe me. I'm not great at this game. I'm making do with what I know, which isn't much. Sometimes that's just what you gotta do when you're streaming. Ah, boy, this is quite lovely and relaxing, actually. This is why I think spending one long stream doing all the hubs will be a good idea. I'll get into the flow of it, I'll be nice and relaxed, and then I will doubtlessly make a mistake, or several, in that relaxed state, and because I've been making that mistake for a long time, continue to make that mistake and end up with a jolly old bollock-up by the end of it all. And that aspect appeals to me in a way. Let's get the wood going, heavens knows I'm going to need a lot of that. Class 121. Now once all these are set up, I'm going to unpause, let it roll out, fix any issues that appear, and then watch these cities grow like weeds. Kinda looking forward to that one. The wood has a long way to go, so I'll probably need quite a few of these. Especially anything going to Posen, which now deals in newspapers. They're going to need, probably going to need 4 down the line with the amount of wood they're going to be consuming. Elkhorn down to Lisa, great. Then Elkhorn down to, not Kompau, Breslau. Really need 2 of those. It's going to feel really nice seeing all these in action. I feel a certain satisfaction from building this up and watching it in flow. And I feel more of a satisfaction with this than I did in Patrician 4, because in Patrician 4, you don't really feel like you worked on those logistics. Because you just set them up to go city to city and the game sorted the rest out. Here, I had to build the tracks with which they go. Of course, in Patrician 4, a well-functioning city feels more satisfying because you build cities from the ground up. Well, some of them at least. You're certainly a lot more involved in the city building, however you look at it. Alright, let's spread out all those beets as well. You wanted a paper mill in Posen, not a newspaper. Oh, please, for the love of God, tell me I didn't build a newspaper stand. I built a newspaper stand. I'll have to pay to demolish it, and then pay to build a new one. Yeah, I had a paper mill, but I replaced it with publishing. My mistake. Well, there you go then. There's your paper mill. I'll get your publishing house later on. I completely forgot what I set up here. Did I do beets to Landsberg? I think I did, but I don't think I did anything else. So, I guess I'll send you over to Posen now. The hunger for beets is not particularly high, so I shouldn't need too many of these. And the lovely thing is, it'll do, and then they'll grow, and then it won't do. And then it's just an invitation to build more trains in order to make more money. It's pretty swell. Head you down to Breslau and duplicate you, because even though the hunger for beets isn't that high, that's a long way to go with some beets. Same story for going all the way down to Oplin. Okay, what else needs to be spread out around here? McCain's Moose. Now these people don't need milk yet, so these trains are going to be running empty for a while. But I'd rather have them set up than not. I do feel bad that the capacity of these trains is so low, but it makes sense that the capacity doesn't upgrade over time. I mean, what, are you somehow just going to jam more milk per cubic centiliter? Cubic centiliter? More milk per bottle, I should say. Something a bit less daft sounding. Hey, it's been a long day of streaming, and there's been a lot of translation turning my head into Swiss cheese. I'll say what I want at this point. I hope somebody else is streaming after I'm done with this. I wouldn't mind chilling out too, like, anything, to be honest. Okay, not sure if I missed one, but I'm sure if I did, it'll become quite apt quite soon. 30-minute save warning? Sure, I'll take it. Cheers. This hoppery shouldn't even deliver to Breslau, because Breslau isn't big enough to accept them. However, if I don't build it, I will forget about it. So I guess I should at least give you a cheeky little... There you go. It's going to moan at me until Breslau has the capacity to actually work with that. Okay, next up is bringing Jagger's salt around. Usually doesn't need any help with that, but... Here you go, Jagger. This is on me. Already did Oplin, already did Breslau, head up to Lisa with the salt. And another one coming out. This actually feels kind of good. It's also a good indicator that all my lines work, because if this, for example, if all this spaghetti did not link it up with Posen, I wouldn't be able to even select Posen here. So it feels good that it does work. Something that doesn't feel good is this week's retainers. Kind of painful. Still, better than having years of braces like I hear some people give me horror stories about. Right, I think that's all of them linked up. If I've made a mistake, it's going to become apparent pretty soon. The only other thing I guess I could do is slam down my supply towers, even though I don't want to. I don't like supply towers. But if I don't put down supply towers, they're all going to yell at me for insufficient supply and other such paltry complaints. So let's just put them down. Unsignaled track southeast of Oplin. Oplin southeast of? Thank you kindly. That's the one I connected up down here. Didn't matter too much. They got their tracks implicitly, but better to give it explicit. You're right about that. Okay, supply towers. Where else needs them apart from everywhere? The demand for supply towers is obscene in this. That was a bad place to put a supply tower. We do not need or even want supply towers on the intercity lines because they all go through maintenance stations. Supply towers where we need those are along the RGO lines, sadly. And that is very sad. I do not like the idea of needing them around there. You know what? People are going to yell at me if they don't have supply. So let's just let these trains activate. And we should also let the money activate. Double check maintenance sheds and RGOs. Now those I certainly forgot about. There we go. Didn't have one in McCain's Moose. Von Dougal Company. Von Dougal Company has one. Oh, jings, I haven't left myself much space to dig out this feldspar. Alright, Mr. Modesty's lands, got it. Alcorn's clearing, have it. Ah, we don't have one here. Eckerman Preserve. They want me to buy out their business for a tiny price. Well, I'll take that. It's pretty good of me to get... oh no, ignore Sombra's short hops. Here, the hoppery needs some love. Even though the train going back and forth can't even benefit from it. Because it doesn't do anything. Alright, the trains are waiting to be activated because I told so many trains to leave every station at once. But they're getting on it. Off they trot. Off they trot. Filling up with all of... Ooh, blackmail. One of your grain companies will be sabotaged. Do you want to pay the amount? Nah, sod off. I don't even know what the sabotage does. It doesn't ping up anywhere saying, oh, this thing is sabotaged. Poston 2 cannot be reached. What even are you? Harami, well, off you trot. Don't care. Connection bonus, also don't care. Clear route? What is all this stuff? Orlov to Oplin? Vienna, well, Vienna to Danzig we have to do well with, but these ones are going to go away. What were you again? Tarkin's breeding to Lisa. But Tarkin's breeding no longer needs to go to Lisa. So, bye-bye. Ostorv going to nowhere? Error. The game doesn't handle the errors very well, does it? Danzig to Vienna, however, must continue to flow. What are they waiting on? That's a lot of Vienna to Danzigs. What are they all waiting on? Come on, you got places to be. It's trying to go, but it's failing. Horribly. Can I just get rid of you and have the other ones go? Yeah, that one definitely broke. Uh-oh. They are really not happy with this. I mean, there is a route there. They just do not like the prospect of going into here. And this is a shame, because I need that track to run. These are connected, aren't they? Oh yeah, as connected can be. Now you're going to try the same and just get stuck here, aren't you? Oh, no, we have a success story. Good, I needed those. Jagger's salt mine can't go to Breslau. Actually, what concerns me more is that you're not going in there whatsoever. Do we not have signaling around here? Not enough of it, apparently. Get stuck in. Breslau grows. Excellent. Breslau was on a big downturn recently, and we have turned that around by giving them all the veggies and grain and sausages and pastries they could need. Now all they need is more wood. This is what I'm talking about. Some of them are going to moan at me about lack of operational supplies, and I can just slam these down to make them relatively happy. Just like that. Hosan 2 cannot be reached. Jagger's salt mine to what? What? Tell me about yourself, train. You confuse me greatly. You confuse and scare me. You have staff, so you're something that I made long ago. I'm gonna get rid of you. Missing operational things into McCain's moves. Thinking about it, coups would have made more sense to me. Well, there you go, there's all the supplies you could ever need. Jake, the signals are backwards. Which signals? Because I don't know which you're talking about. The trains that were stuck, you mean the ones heading down into Ostrov? These don't look backwards, these don't look backwards, these don't look backwards. No longer relevant, okay. I thought they got stuck here. And these signals look good to me. They still look good to me. Alright, low operational supplies here as usual. They're out of water, so they just have to keep spitting into the engine. That's what I mean, rather than figure out where to put all these, I just wait for them to yell at me and then I give them what they need. Lisa can't be reached. Oakland to Lisa. Are you one that I just recently made? I think you're old. You are old because you have staff. Bye-bye. Really should have deleted all the trains first. But I didn't, so too bad. Getting them sorted out with supplies, but not right at the choke point there. No suitable freight? What are you? Milk to Danzig. That's fine though, Danzig doesn't drink that much milk. They got tons of things for export, which tells me they're probably not exporting enough. Thorn, for example, I bet they hunger for something like clothes. No, actually they've got good clothing. Well, these places are altogether pretty banging good up north, making me tons of money as well. I once played a city builder where the freight would despawn if there were too many on screen. The city collapsed fairly quickly when that started happening. That sounds like a grim time for the city. What game was that? Let me know so I can know to avoid it, please. So many people with low operational supplies. So many supply towers. Should rename this to Supply Tower Empire. Maybe I should come up with a way that I put these supply towers down and I don't forget and have to do this later on. But it's so arduous to do before anything else. Did Novgorod end up growing in the original Perfect Hansa? Of course, Novgorod reached maximum size. Can't believe you would expect anything less. I worry about the game chugging at times, because we're nowhere near capacity. We have 339 trains, we have a limit of 1,600, and I plan on using those. I also plan on getting bigger bank loans at some point. Oh, got ourselves some research flowing in, 322 points. What am I even aiming for at this point? Reliability is nice, but I already have these things. Accelerates train maintenance. Ooh, that would be nice. And innovation points would also be nice. Reliability. Maintenance requirements. Those all sound like good things. Depreciation reduction. Maintenance. Okay, all of this is sounding good. Give me that maintenance reduction. Wait, what the heck was that? It's some guy going, "Ay caramba," looking at a busted down locomotive. Decommissioned locomotives are sold to countries with lower industrial standards through newly established foreign contacts. I see. And I don't mind. Jing's Lisa is a busy place. Actually, it might even be too busy. These things can't even get through. Mueller is offering me to take over the fattening by Posen. Oh, that's amazing. I was going to be... They sold that to me for nothing. The profit of it's through the roof. I don't know why they were saying it wasn't profitable. We're going to run out of trains, says a username not needed. Possibly. Possibly. Probably, actually. That could be a real concern for us, because, yeah, probably is a real concern for us. Cleared area near Ulm. Well, give it to me. It's all freebies to me. Breakdown, bad condition. How could you be in bad condition already? I just bought you. Well, Jagger's salt mine perhaps doesn't have what it needs to fix things up. Oh, it really doesn't. There you go. Sausage maker in Brunn. I don't know or care about Brunn. How much would it cost to buy? Okay, it would cost me quite a bit more to buy it myself, but not going to worry about it. Well, the money is certainly flowing in, but I'm concerned about the growth of these. For example, why are you not growing, Landsberg? What do you not have that you should have? Sausages, for one. Clothing for another. Right, clothing is going to be hard to come by because none of these places get wool. So getting over the big hump here requires them actually getting beer. Or actually just sausages would suffice. If the sausages could push them up to fruit, then they get the fruit, somebody would start making brandy, then they get milk, forget the dairy products, but they would get the beets and eventually the paper. Also hire everybody. Wish I had some freelancers too. If we run out of trains, then we're going to have to find out how to squeeze everything we can out of the trains. Simple as. Breslau, are you big enough yet? Come on, I need you to be 40,000 so I can build up some beer from you. These people need beer. You're in bad condition too? How can that be? Brandenburg to Leipzig. Oh. Actually, how can that be so? Leipzig has a maintenance station. Maybe Brandenburg doesn't. Brandenburg doesn't, well that explains it. At least I can build those for free. Also, hey, look at Thorn. It's grown so big it can get an extra industry. It should probably also be pumping out a whole lot more beer. But building up my industries costs an arm and a bleeding leg. But I know these Germans and their love for beer, so let's give them every dose of beer we can. Every single one of your short hops. Upgrade Sombra short hops to its maximum capacity. How much is that? 12 per week. Why does it give it to me per week? I do not know. Oh, 12 per month? 12 per week? What am I meant to believe here? Well, it doesn't matter that much. Thorn is getting all it needs, but it needs another industry. Thorn doesn't really get anything delivered to it, and I don't want to overthink this for now, so I won't think about it at all. If I need the industries, I can buy them out later on, tear them down, and build up my own better industries. How's Berlin doing? Oh, tragically. Here it is. It's not in growth. They don't eat, other than the occasional sausage or pastry that is thrown away from a nearby city. So it really sucks to be a Berliner. But that's good. That's how it should be. Alright, Landsberg's still not on the up, and that concerns me a bit. It's because they're not getting sausages, but why would that be? Posen does make sausages and does export sausages. So what's going on with the Landsberg-Posen route? They're on their way back without terribly much, but I'm surprised they went to Landsberg without giving them any sausages. Maybe the other trains already left with all the sausages. Oh, see, they're loading up, but not with sausages, even though we have all these sausages for export. I bet that's because you produce... No, you don't produce sausages. What the heck? Why are you not getting sausages over there? This is Landsberg to Posen. And you're not doing freight, you're doing automatic, right? Yeah, automatic. Automatic, and you're not taking sausages to Landsberg? Why? I can only assume that that's because there are already trains full of sausages going to you. And I'm not seeing them. Why do they not get sausages? There, it's just mail and stuff, no sausages. Why is Posen not exporting their sausages? They have loads ready for export. Could have more though, so let's expand the industry. Let's expand this industry as well, come on. Bigger, better, more efficient. There you go again. Posen to Landsberg not carrying sausages. I don't understand. They cry out in hunger for their sausages. What could it mean? It could mean that somewhere else that produces sausages is trying to send their sausages there. But Lisa's the only other sausage producer. Lisa to... where is it again? Landsberg. No, not a sausage. Why are they not taking Posen's sausages? Don't understand. Ah, promoter. Excellent. Somewhere that increases the size of a city. And the question is, where do we promote? Honestly, I'd like Landsberg to get a whole lot bigger. But it's not getting a lot of anything that it needs. In fact, Landsberg's having a fair few problems at this rate. Nothing wrong with the signals that I can tell. Don't get it. I just don't get it. Oh well, let's not worry about that. Let's worry about somewhere like Breslau that desperately needs to pump out the beer. So Breslau is going to get the promoter. And how convenient, it's quite low in the list. Breslau, get to it. Yeah, 1,600 is the train limit that we have. I'd love to find a way to increase that, but I'm not so sure such a way exists. If that is a limit that we have, that's going to be a problem. We're currently at 339 in use, with 2 out of 11 of our hubs not even completed. They're going to need a lot more trains than they currently use. Granted, there are other trains that I'm currently using. And the trains will get faster and better as we unlock more technology. So let's get that reliability up for one. Still, it is something of concern. But not nearly as concerning as why Landsberg isn't getting sausages. Why would they not get sausages? Again, a little bit of leather, but still no sausages. Well and truly not a sausage. There's Posen getting a tiny, tiny bit of pastry. Tell you what, if I were to make another train that is just a class 101 that goes from Posen to Landsberg with automatic loading, what would it do right now? It wouldn't even load up on sausages again. Why? Why? They're sending their sausages elsewhere, right? You are exporting those, right? Yeah, we can see that Posen is bringing a couple of sausages down to Oaklin. Oddly enough, Oaklin, despite being this far away, only need a little bit of sausage, but that's okay, I guess. My only other explanation is that Landsberg is somehow bringing sausages in from elsewhere. Why are Harmere Fields on this? Oh, right. What? Oh, really? You're taking a long way down there. Harmere Fields should not be going this far. Down you go. Come to think of it, that was way too far for them to go. Yeah, it's probably a performance issue, and that's why they cap the amount of trains that you can have. Probably. Be my best guess, and it is a good guess. This place can't grow if it's not getting its sausages, and it's not getting its wheat, oddly enough. This is why I should have called it wheat. These names don't mean anything to me if I don't know the good that's coming. But I'm noticing that Sihoa Meadow doesn't go up to... it does go to Landsberg. 3 of them even go to Landsberg. With very, very little grain in tow. Landsberg is a weird place. It feels like people aren't actually understanding Landsberg's demands. They get next to no grain. But plenty of vegetables? Bizarre. Ah well, like all my problems, I'm sure it'll fix itself. Mere Farm. Yeah, Mere Farm delivers them just fine. Bad condition already. The trains get conditioned out quite quickly. Granted, you didn't actually have any repair station there. Okay, my bonds. My bonds have actually been dealt with rather nicely there. And wow, we've got 45 people moved down. Oh, give me that. Any auction that I can win is a good auction to win. The Bourbonnais train. Don't know much about it, but I do know that I like maintenance requirements going down. I don't own or care to own the game. I don't want to buy it just to mod the game for change. Well, it'll be a case of finding what value needs to be changed there. I did email the devs asking them about it, and they just told me what the limit number is. Sadly, that's all I've got to go on for now. Why no sausages? Why no sausages? If I made a train that directly got the sausages, would that cut it? Let's find Posen to Landsberg and tell it specifically to load up on sausages. Your priority is sausages. Are you going to get the sausages? Doesn't really matter if you do or don't, though. I'm going to be bothered why you're not automatically doing that. In you get. And you load up with... Those don't look like sausages. Oh, because I didn't confirm it. Whoops. In that case, I'm going to copy the train and delete you. See if this new one loads up on sausages. Still no sausages, even though I've told them to specifically load up on sausages. Either there's no supply or no demand. Really? Because in Posen, there are almost maximum sausages waiting for export. And they go straight over to Landsberg, where they don't produce sausages, and there's currently a demand for them. So why are they not getting sausages? I'm also wondering why they're not getting all the grain that they demand, even though they have a run coming in from Eldhorn's clearing, which are currently being serviced. Are the Posen sausages already spoken for? That's not impossible, but I feel like it's unlikely given the sheer amount of them that are slated for export. Check the overlay view. Flow of goods, sausages. Posen is sending their sausages down to Breslau and down to Oplin. Not down to Lisa, however, probably because Lisa produces a few sausages themselves. Don't know how they do that, though. I mean, who's... They don't even get any piglets to send the sausages out with. Is it possible the sausages are en route elsewhere? It's not impossible that some train has bugged out trying to carry all those sausages. Let's look at everything that... What's this? Landsberg to Stettin. Landsberg to Stettin, trying to go to Landsberg. Yeah, you're the problem right here. I've got a Landsberg to Stettin route that needs to be destroyed. Well, off you go. It doesn't need to receive such things anymore. Landsberg, Renza, Lisa, Open Postberg. Okay, that should fix it. Which means those two that I made can be gotten rid of. Thanks for that one, Thubs. It's your first time in here, and yet you've already proven your mettle by making an astute observation. Right, I made that. Wait, what? There's another Stettin to land. I'm gonna make you do your delivery and then destroy you. Actually, I'm just gonna straight up destroy you. What were the other ones that I made going to Landsberg that I wanted to delete now? I managed to forget. No, I think I already deleted them. I hope I did at least. Alright, well that should solve that problem. Now Landsberg will get what it needs. Breslau, are you big enough for beer? Of course you're big enough for beer. You're German. Here you go. Make more pastries, because everybody needs pastries. Make more beer, because everybody in Germany drinks beer. And now Breslau will fill in the gaps that Wool is currently failing to fill in. Because we've got a bit of a problem here around the 40-something thousand population. No beer, no sauerkraut, no wool, no clothes. That's not very good, but it is just on the cusp, so if they get their beer and their fruit, the places should be okay. Do we actually have enough fruit flowing? You're only level 1. I'm going to upgrade you to level 3. And it's a 1-to-1 hop to beer ratio. So I'm going to buy this business and expand this business a couple of times. So that should flow out a minute amount of beer. The demand for beer is pretty big. I'm going to have a hard time meeting it, but I will try. Breakdown in bad condition, probably because of Sihoa's meadow, which you're currently heading towards. Because Sihoa's meadow does have a maintenance building. Then you'll be fine. We're going to get to a point where we have all these kinds of things popping up to annoy us, but it's okay. Well, that's less okay. You're running out of oil. I'm not that much of a monster. Here are your supplies. As they grow up, I'm also going to want to give them access to a museum, and that will increase their supply, their main... There's a word I'm looking for and it's not coming to me. It'll increase something by a good bit, though. Their satisfaction by 10%. Oplin. Oplin is so close to the fruit place that it makes a ton of sense to make them produce the fruity brandy. So here's your distillery. And that distillery's got to satisfy a lot of people, so I'm going to big it up a couple of times. It's going to eat about a third of the fruits that comes out of Derwin's meadow. And these people are almost in need of that fruit. Missing supplies down here. I don't like being told that when they're actively on their way to go and get supplies, but that's just how it is. Still only 45 people have made it from Danzig to Vienna, sadly. Do you have any fruit trains? I'm certain that I do. I have no fruit trains. How can this be? How did I forget about the fruit? Probably because fruit is so far down the line. Yeah, people don't even want fruit until 44 or 500, but yeah, excellently pointed out. Oplin takes 16 weeks, that's 4 months. Probably going to need 2 of those. Given that they want domestic consumption of fruit and, of course, to make their fruity beverages. Choo choo. Get those fruits over to Lisa. Half a year-round trip. Some of these distances are crazy, and that's why the desire or the need for number of trains is going to get a bit insane for this. Up to Posen, and another one. The demand for fruit isn't huge, so a single one should do it for most of these guys. However, maybe not for Landsberg, because that's a year-round trip. Make a couple of those. And then, just like that, that fruit will probably not flow that much, because the demand isn't very high. In fact, some of them probably won't even want fruit at all at this point. But they're certainly wanted down there. See, off you go, no supplies. Off you go, no supplies. Off you go, some actual supplies. Gotta make sure you guys are supplied along the way. Otherwise, you're gonna complain at me. The fortunate thing about this game, as opposed to, say, Patrician 4, is that it's still being developed, they're still making DLC for it, so if I really run into some issues, such as I need 30,000, well not 30,000, but say I need 3,000 trains instead of 1,600, the devs should be able to chime in with at least an answer on what I can do. I wouldn't go so far as to expect them to fix something in the game for me. But they should at least be able to have some kind of answer. I don't sell locomotives that often, I'd rather have maintenance. Express train, freight train, I'm looking for another good mixed train. That would be you, the Garat. But that's not a big increase altogether, I'm more looking for these maintenance things. If I got you and then you... Train personnel cost is nonsense. Oh wait, no, the SJB2 reaches high speeds, has good power, and is suitable for mixed. Wow, that sounds pretty good. Take it. How much would it cost to retrofit? Actually, before I do that, that's when I should definitely get the reselling off to Mexico exports. Save me a lot of money doing that. No freight available on what? Jagger salt mine. That's because the demand for salt isn't there yet. Ah, look at them all go. Not all giving everything they should, but now that Landsberg can actually get their sausages... Still struggling on wheat and stuff for Landsberg. I suspect that's just because it's such a long way to go to bring them what they need. Where's that wheat coming in? Elkhorn's clearing. No, Elkhorn's clearing is wood. Do you even actually get any wheat coming in, Landsberg? See, the wheat comes in from Sihoa's meadow, of which there are 3 going, but that's not enough. Actually, here's the problem right here. The farm is being completely drank dry. It doesn't produce enough grain for everybody. I have to bump it up to level 5. And then just like that, bang, out comes all the wheat. Interesting problem to have, not enough of the stuff flowing out. That's a problem when I own them. I need to be on top of upgrading them as well. So that might mean that the vegetables aren't flowing. Actually, the vegetables are flowing fine, James. Look at those numbers. But this is way too low. You need to be bumped up as well. Not that people need those sugar beets yet, but they will. Yeah, nobody wants Jagger's salt. It's funny, because he wants to share it. Oplin's growing nicely. Oplin's going to have fruit brandy for export. Whether or not people are actually drinking it is left up for debate. But the paper I should be able to take care of nicely, and then we'll get towards salt desire. Berlin's salt mine. My salt mine now. Hired, and market crier. I don't really care. But I will hire you, and I'll tell you to work in mail or passengers. Comfort, then. Oh, he works in all cities. For a year? Well, that's pretty good value. You should be able to get more of those people out from Danzig to Vienna, then. Which I should keep an eye on. Danzig to Vienna, of which I only have 2. Well, I'm going to have 3 now. Wait, that's a different kind of train than normal. Oh wow, it took a whole passenger and a whole letter down to Vienna. Nonsense. Alright, let's do the old not retrofitting, the exports. And the maintenance speed, that's nice. Now, if I wanted to get the SJB operational for all of my trains, it would cost me every piece of money ever. And its reliability is lower, but its maintenance requirements are also lower. And its consumption, compared to what I'm currently running, I'm running the Class 121. Consumption 100 versus consumption 113, that's pretty bad. But the speed of 92 kilometers per hour versus 78 is hard to say no to. So SJB, I think we'll have you replace everything with it. Well, that only cost all of my money. That is a cool loco indeed. You know, there's one particular track that I wanted to ride on through all of this, and that is this monster track that we made. So that goes from McCain's Moose down to... where are you going to? Breslau? Is Breslau where I want to go? Close. I want to go to Oplin. And would you look at that, we're just about to leave Oplin. Well, all aboard. All aboard. Yeah, there we go. Well, there's nothing to be pulled here, but away we go. Yeah, the limited first-person camera is a bit of a pain. You can do it this way, but then you're not getting as close as I'm sure many would like. Regardless, though, down we go through Space Mountain. Oof, even with no cargo, this thing struggles to make that hill. And then just goes down again. Actively putting on the brakes. It's going 115 kilometers per hour. And then just snap. Oh my god, if it had cargo, it would not be making this. But up it goes regardless. Going over this incredibly pointless bit of bridging and muck piling. Staring enviously across at trains that have real routes. Alright, let's play chicken. Oh, he took the lower ground. Well, we took the higher ground. Cutting a crossover. Not losing too much in this incline. Going over all these other losers, though. Nay bad. Ah, look at all that milk. There's a fair amount of milk for these Germans. Imagine if we had the Finland map, though. It would be nothing but milk. Slowing down, I guess we want to grab some water. It's always water. These trains run out of water at lightning fast speeds. Oh goodness, it actually flows down with the water. I didn't know that. Oh, it even swings in and out? Are there people that actually operate those? Or is there some kind of automated way that the train gets access to it? Because that is pretty neat. Also loving how these wee things operate as well, the signals. Loving the millions of Dutch marks we're making during this. All as we head on back to pasture to grab McCain's Moo's milk. Jake, I just got here. The train is on the wrong side of the track. It's on the Queen's side of the track. More supplies. Do we need them? Of course we don't. We just topped up on water, even though it consumes water like crazy. There's usually people in the signal station. Supplies, usually the train crew would do it. Fun fact, train signal stations are a job so menial in South Africa, they trained a monkey to do it, and he never did it wrong. Huh. A lot of jokes I could make there, but that's above me. Below me, rather. Okay, well, that was fun riding around on that track. Makes me all the happier building something that I can ride along with here. It's kind of like why in roller coaster rides it's so much better that when you can actually ride what you've created. Now, what's your problem? Aren't you the wood thing? No, this is Von Dougels. Von Dougels is still trying to sell sugar beets to Germany, but the Germans are having none of it. They're sickened at the very idea of eating sugar beets. Lisa, however, won't be so sickened because they're getting a museum. Museum? Yeah, a museum. That's going to increase their fulfillment by a nice little chunk. Anybody else up for a museum? Breslau is almost up for one. Oaklin also almost up for one, but Breslau will beat them to it because they're just about there. Museums are incredibly important to the perfect Hanseatic plan here, because this fulfillment, it raises it by 10 whole percentage points, meaning it takes it from 50 to 60. And it's a very binary operation. If you're above 60%, you grow. If you're below 40%, you shrink. And I want everybody growing and growing until they're at least 100,000 as part of this hub-based network. And once they're all over 100,000, we're pushing it up towards 250,000. Although, I'm starting to wonder if that'll even be possible given the train limit. Never mind the logistical issues. Let's have a look at my trains running around. Jings, look at them go. This is actually kind of reassuring because it looks quite, well, it doesn't look saturated, does it? At some point it will just become a conveyor belt, surely. So red means fool. The redder it is, the fooler it is. Yes, sure. Bless that night mode. I don't use it often, but I'm so happy it's in there. There's a lot of data-driven ways to develop games, and some might say, they might put metrics on this and go, okay, players spend 0.02% of their time in night mode, we shouldn't support it. Oh, can't agree with that kind of assessment. Up goes the water, and along goes you. But you still have no suitable freight. Refrigerator car? I'll take it, even though I don't want it. At least it's an innovation. Nobody wants Jagger's bloody salt. At what point are they going to start eating Jagger's salt? 76,000, but we will get there. I'm not concerned about that. Opline continues to grow. Stokers get stoked. Osen is almost there. Landsberg struggles to grow. I do not like the struggling times of Landsberg. Hopefully they should start getting all that grain they were after, but I would have thought that arrived by now. Oh wait, Landsberg getting salt. Oh, but it's only for their sauerkraut, which I don't even care about them making much of. I want to tear that place down. They also really shouldn't be making... Ah, that's a bit of a problem. They're making pastries when they shouldn't. I should tear that down and give them some real industry, but... don't know how to give them at this point. As long as these places barely operate, it's fine, but they need a lot more... Oh, Jinx, tell me you're getting your sausages. Danzig, Vienna, all looking fine. Lisa's not sending in sausages, but I wouldn't expect them to. The beer is coming in, the mail's coming in. What about all those post-send sausages, though? Don't tell me you're not doing that again. Unloading. Oh, it's only loading up with one sausage for poor Landsberg. I wonder if there's someone else out there trying to get to Landsberg with sausages and desperation. I thought we'd solved that issue, but perhaps not. Low operational supply. You're looking at a maintenance station. This bothers me greatly, the speed at which they consume these supplies. Sometimes I feel like it's bugged out for 100 years mode, but I haven't played enough between 100 years and 30 years mode to check. It feels like it's just being consumed at ridiculous... It feels like it's being consumed at normal rates, but it's not adjusting for the fact that we're playing the game at 4 times speed. I wonder if that is the case. I'll do a comparison and see if I can't change that. Because if that is the case, then that's causing water to be consumed 4 times faster. I'll look into it. I'm sure someone would have brought it up by now if it was an issue, though. Maybe I'm just making excuses to the poor operational standards of my own trains here. But Landsberg does continue to bother me. Because they're not really getting their sausages still. And I can only really assume that there's someone trying to go there with sausages but can't. Thinking about it, you could increase the population more if you reduce the fulfillment to 40% to flow the excess into one city and repeat. I could, but I want to have it set so that that's not a requirement. Because otherwise, if something were to happen and it were to slip below that and decrease, you'd have to go through the same rigmarole again to increase it, and that doesn't seem right. Alright, CO is Meadow to Landsberg. I'm going to clone you, because Landsberg never seems to have enough wheat for itself, and that's causing fulfillment problems. If I could just get you up a bit, I could build up your museum, and then that would solve some of your problems. But, oh, of course you're lacking vegetables because you're sauerkraut as well. In that case, I should find the Myrrh vegetables and increase the flow to Landsberg as well. Let's clone you a couple of times whilst the sauerkraut is still flowing. At least Landsberg can get their own sauerkraut to consume, but they also spread that out. They need beer. Boy, do they need beer. Beer for export? That sounds like a beer industry that could be growing. No, 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 no. Don't reduce. You actually incur costs for reducing the sizes of your industries. I don't know what that's there to dissuade from or encourage, but it is there. Okay, so everything that isn't Landsberg is growing just fine. But at least Landsberg was temporarily growing there. Has it finally got enough vegetables and wheat for a change? Right, they're big enough to get fruit now at least. So I can give them fruit to make them bigger, then I can get them brandy, milk, sugar beets, and then that should be all Landsberg's problems solved. Would be nice if you could see an en route field. That would be nice, because something is definitely up with these sausages. They're never getting their sausages. Nobody is trying to go to Landsberg with sausages. So I'm assuming there's a train stuck somewhere, filled to the brim with German sausage, just trying to enter Landsberg. Because here we go, the Posen one is only delivering a single sauce. Oh! Landsberg Rostock! You were the problem. Well, you were one of our problems. Posen and Breslau. Posen and Breslau's fine. Actually, it made it all the way there. What was that all about? Rostock. Okay, that should have solved all my problems at long last. Monthly innovation points by 5% is titchy and not even worth that investment, but I'll get it anyway. One whole investment point per month, in 300 months it'll pay itself back. Check for a similar situation with the wheat. No, I know they're consuming wheat fast because of this. This bakery is just eating it all up, unfortunately. I know they're getting in their wheat, and their vegetables for that matter, it's just they're turning it into sauerkraut and pastries that get exported. Which isn't too bad, but it's not something that's going to last. This place will not be a pastry production place down the line. It's just I can't conceivably tear those down and add other industries at this point. But now I suspect the sausage situation will take on a new turn. There we go, Posen. Oh, this is deliverance for the Germans. So what's the capacity? Wow, that is too busy for you to go across. Don't know what the capacity of this is in terms of the amount of sausage it has, but I'm guessing it's lots. Oh, Landsberg, I can't wait for you to grow up and become a real city. I just hope you're finally going to get some fruit in. So it gets that grain, but it's almost immediately going to turn it into pastries. Yeah, bang, just like that. Monthly demand is huge. West of Danzig, that little train went across your entire network with those sausages. Oh, you mean the ones that were going to Landsberg? Yeah. That would have been something that I had a connection coming through here for. But since I trimmed that connection, it took a much longer route. Really should delete the trains first before doing all this stuff. But it's a hassle. A real hassle. Oh well, what can you do? I can build museums, that's what I can do. There you go. And now Posen is going to grow and grow. This is going to go up over 70%, I wager. 5, 6, 7, come on. Don't make me look like a fool here. There we go. Over 70, as I suspected. Sooner or later, they're actually going to want Jagger's salt. Never thought anyone would. And once you hit 90k, I can actually build you up with a newspaper stand as well. Oh, let's keep those sausages flowing. The German hunger for sausage is insatiable. Insatiable? Express line Breslau to Güterschloch. Not happening, game. This guy's running out of oil. He's doing this back and forth so much. Alright, well, I'm not a monster. Here's your supply tower. Those are the guys that I only recently added in to deliver fruit onto the German peoples. Ah, you'll manage. So I did all this without a single warehouse down here. That's not to say it won't ever have a warehouse. It's going to be a lot easier. Let's say I need to get more goods into Lisa and I don't want to clog all this. It's going to end up being easier for me just to put a warehouse here and then sling it off. Let's say I wanted Lisa to be my porcelain creator. Warehouse goes here and slings into the Feldspar down there, and the coal here. Makes a lot of sense. Makes almost too much sense. 52 whole passengers to Vienna. Madness. I'm not actually going to get this one done in time, am I? I've only got 24 years to massively increase the amount of passengers I'm moving around. And I'm not sure this is growing at a reasonable rate for it. Again, these aren't really part of what I'm trying to do. I just want to get them done as part of it all. My favourite part of all the Railway Empire streams so far is it's amazing that stupid bridge thing outside. Hey now, don't you slag off this. It's an integral part of the economy. It transfers laser kiwi fruit through the arduous task of getting Kongsberg to eat their bleeding apples. They've set up a newspaper and paper industry just to print out how important it is for them to eat those things. I'm actually wondering if they deliver those. Well, they deliver papers, but not so much newspapers. They're more about delivering... Yeah, this tells me I need a lot more trains running between these places, because I doubt Danzig has many newspapers. Yeah, they do not meet their demand of newspapers, because Kongsberg has to send out all the pastries, and that's a lot of pastries they gotta distribute. I'd imagine most of their trains are just running pastries around here, because the newspapers don't actually get... Oh god, you actually have a demand for peat! Peat I will be filling the demand for. Same with tools, not so much clocks though. Good word that, clock. Let's make maintenance fast. Oh, reduces consumption. Yes, please. God, consumption is just such a horrible issue for my trains. It's an abomination in the eyes of both God and man. I love it so much, says Marty Ass. I'm glad you enjoy it. I certainly do too. Alright, museum's up there. Breslau is just about ready to get its next industry. I can't remember what it was. I'm not even sure if I planned for one. Posen is the only one I planned for, and they're going to be getting their newspaper industry. Come on, Landsberg. Grow, you idiot. It's just barely squeaking by over 61% there. Desperate for a beer, or some fruit brandy. There's a thought. Why is the fruit brandy failing to go? Oaklin, you're meant to be sending that brandy across. Make more brandy. Brandy needs more fruit. Make more fruit. More everything. Hey, that fruit place is already making me some sweet profit. I fear that Oaklin doesn't go up to utilization 0%. At least that's kind of good for me. Tells me that I have a lot more track that I can use when I want to move things around. Still, Oaklin needs to go up to Landsberg more, most likely, even though I already have a lot of Landsberg to Oaklin. Why are they transporting so few fruit brandies? Don't tell me you also have some mysterious stranger who is supposedly meant to be bringing you fruit brandy. Because that'd be weird. Well, let's face it, everything that you're doing to me is weird. Looking for anybody that's stuck full of goods to bring you. Granted, the demand for fruit brandy isn't... Oh, I see the problem. The problem was you didn't actually have enough fruit brandy to send out, did you, Oaklin? No, no you didn't. But you will soon enough, especially as you keep growing. Here's a museum. Alright, so that was a supply issue, not a demand issue. So I think that means they've all got museums now. Except for Landsberg. Lisa... What would I even give Lisa at this point? I don't have anything to give you right now. I'll just let whatever build up, and I will come and buy it and tear it down when it offends me so. Same with you, I got nothing to build up here. These extra... I just want to build up what they need to get them to 100,000, and that generally doesn't go any further than papers and newspapers. There's no inherent demand for steel. There is inherent demand for tools, but that's where things get a bit more excessive, so I'm going to ignore that altogether. I tell you what, though. I tell you what. I think if I really wanted to push this, I could have one of these pair be what's used that go between everything, and one pair that's used directly from A to B. That might be an easy way to keep track of which of these get utilised, because currently, all utilised on this side... Oh, well, no, they're even here. That's kind of strange. Maybe they go back and forth. Oh, well, ignore me. I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. I was trying to count museums. So yeah, they all have museums except for you. And you are growing, thankfully. I'll take it. Take all this staff as well while I'm at it. Freight, express, freight, fees. Reduces purchase prices of new locomotives with mass production. Sounds kinda good. Ooh, Flying Scotsman. Haven't ridden one. Wouldn't mind riding one. Looking for anything that increases reliability or anything like that. Not too caring about the amount of people I have hanging around my stations, though. Increases power by 4%. So even some of this old stuff. Train maintenance. Oh my goodness, I've been missing out on train maintenance. Can't be missing out on train maintenance. I want that accelerated. In the end, I'm going to be getting all of this research, and it's nice that I'm coming towards the end here. Creative accounting sounds like the best way to make money. They've had some tongue-in-cheek with these, that's for sure. I'm glad I'm still transporting passengers and mail. Passengers and mail are great money makers. The trouble is they don't grow the cities, so they don't then compound the amount of money that they're going to be making. But it gives these trains something to do as they go back and forth delivering sausages and whatnot. And I'm happy to see them delivering sausages. Once Landsberg hits 60,000, I'm willing to call it a day on this hub. Because they're clearly all growing quite nicely, and they will continue to grow much like the red zone up north does. Well, the red zone up north does not continue to grow. Of course, these things aren't going to grow endlessly. But they're hitting around 100,000 a pop, and that's exactly what I'm looking for at this point. Yoink. And from there I can move on. The one thing I have not done for this hub is... Oh, hang on there. Oh, that's just Breslau wanting an industry. Not happening. The only thing I haven't really done here is set about its overflow warehouse. This is the overflow warehouse for the red zone. And I think I said I wanted it, yeah, right there on the brown zone that I'm making here. So where is that? That's here. That's not very good. I should consider moving you... down where that milk is? I mean, this ain't the worst place to put it, but it doesn't... It's a shame I can't just copy-paste you here, but that might be the best place for it. Or even if I make this cut out sooner and I put it over here. Yeah, if I put it here and just have the main bit go over there for wherever I need it to, that should be fine. I don't know. No, I think I will put it here, actually. Let's put it down ahead of time. Warehouse, big warehouse, signaling control. Oof, that's actually not ideal the way it's set up now, is it? And I really do wish I could copy past of that. Part of me is a little unhappy about this setup. All because of McCain's moves being where they are. If I slung them over this side, I would have had a lot more space to work with here. Nothing stopping me from setting it up over here, though. Might end up being more convenient that way. Right, I have an idea. And it's a pretty good one. Might not be such a good one anymore. I forgot I can't put 4 of these things next to each other. However, the point of this might surprise you. The point of this is not to tunnel under this this railway here. Now I'm not even sure I'm going to need these big warehouses, as many as I have for overflow, but I want to be ready for overflow like this. Being ready is half the battle. The other half is winning. Is that even going to connect, or is that too tight? Tighter than a bleeding tiger, that. I think the problem is that I'm going under, actually. I should have taken an above approach here. Alright, screw that idea altogether then. Now we'll stick with the warehouses then. But I sure do wish I had copy-paste. I wonder if that's something to consider for the game. If you don't have all the techs unlocked and yet lots of cash, you could build universities everywhere to generate points quickly. It doesn't generate that many points, and I'm not too fussed about speeding up my research. I don't think it's going to have that much impact. I'll get the research anyway. I'd rather use the space for my museums to make sure all this stuff grows up nice. I mean, one museum doesn't even give 1 research point per month. It's pretty pathetic. Is that even per month? It is. It's per week in normal plays. Looking for a nice way to sort these out, but... yeah, that'll have to do. Again, a bit of copy-pasting would go a long way here. But I feel like the game isn't really designed around this sort of play. Makes me kind of wonder though, what is it designed around? Scenario play? Because I don't think the scenarios are very good. Sorry, sorry gaming minds. You do make good systems, but I don't think you can make particularly engaging scenario play. There we go, give you on-offs to all of this. I knew what I was meant to be doing. I was meant to be putting... oh, this doesn't work, does it? Oh, that's no good. I wonder why it doesn't like that. Too tight? I guess it is too tight. That, however, is not too tight, so that's okay. And that is... no, it's not. Thank goodness. If you don't have all the text unlocked, you get lots of cash. Oh yeah, it's the same thing I just read, isn't it? Scenarios like build a railroad network to wreck the French. Well, I think it's the whole idea with building up in the scenario play. It's like, what are you building up for? In the end, you just win and that's it. It doesn't seem to be much of a point to it all. Granted then, the same could be said about what I'm building up here. It's not like I'm going to load up this save periodically for the next several years and go, ah, this was that one thing I did. It took days of my life, but I did it. No, 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 that's what the Patrician 4 Perfect Hansa was for. Which, this is showing every sign is going to take longer than that, which is a terrifying thought. Alright, groovy. There's my overflow network here. And it can bridge over here, good. And it likely will have to. So that means all the overflow that I get from here is going to be shoved into these warehouses and vice versa. Meaning these warehouses are probably going to flow into dedicated warehouses for each of these cities. But that's a problem for when I have to deal with overflow. Okay, very good. Landsberg is now large enough to handle a museum of its own. There you go, sunshine. And now Landsberg is going to stop having growth issues for me and just plain grow. The only other thing I want is Posen to have that... Where are you? Where are you? Publishing house. Excellent. Wood is something that is available in massive amounts, so to make my own publishing house means that we can spread the newspaper love at extreme costs. There we go. Make sure that we have the paper for it. Paper is 1-to-1... Wait, what? Ooh. Here I thought that 16 paper would equal 16 newspapers, but no, it's 8-to-8. So you're going to produce paper and newspapers and have enough wood to go around. It's pretty good. Pretty expensive on the wood, but pretty good. Well then, this network, I would dare say, is all ready to go and see the world. Ah, you know what makes it even better? The fact that the bank believes in me so much that they're willing to give me a 30 million Dutch mark loan for my next hubs. Excellent. Right, we're done here. It took another 3 hours. I'm not all that surprised, but I did learn some things about how to do this better. Namely, make sure you don't have cartloads of sausages going into Landsberg, and you won't be pulling your hair out for 30 minutes trying to figure out why. It might still look like a whole load of chicken scratch, but I do actually think that this is a good railway network. The RGOs feed directly into dedicated RGO train stations for each city, whilst the city have their other designated stations, which currently deal with people and mail as well as finished goods. We'll probably eventually only really deal in finished goods, but there's nothing wrong with them filling up extra cartloads of passengers and mail. It's a little extra time, but it just feels right. Wouldn't feel right to not transport people with trains, would it? It would feel American, and this is not an American network. Although, maybe it'll become one in due time. Right, what's in store for us down the line? I'm going to finish off these hubs. I am going to take a day, maybe even 2 days, and do all of these hubs. Making them is going to be exactly what we just saw with these two hubs. I can't actually think of anything different except for how incredibly difficult this hub and especially this hub is going to be. And maybe this hub as well, just given how tight it is. Everywhere else has lots of lovely open space, like here and Jing's everything here. And all of this, and oh my goodness, the bottom right one's going to be the easiest one. However, this is awkward. And this is not a lot of space. Just get a feel for that by looking at it in the game. Oh, jings. And it's worse than it even looks. Look at all these contours. Look at all this space that I cannot build on at all. Imagine trying to get a good network going through Freiburg. And even if you just take the going through the hills route, if you build a... Well, let's do this just for example. If I were to build this and go, hooray, my... Wait, that doesn't work at all. Where's my tunnel? Where's my big old tunnel? Oh, that's the problem. You're going up, isn't it? Ignore all of that. Let me start my point from the beginning. Imagine I want to go through this. Huzzah, done. Great. When I want to signal it, and I will want to signal it, unfortunately, this whole underpass is one entire signal. So that's really going to cut through the amount that can go through there. All that, one signal. It's lucky it has this little peaky boo out bit just so I can shove another signal in there. So that's going to be a problem. But hey, problems are good. Problems beget problem solving, and we will solve some problems on this. But I don't think that's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow I want to steam through Rune Factory 5, and that'll leave me with a lot of freedom to chew through this in earnest, because these long plays are taking too long. I enjoy them, but I have a lot of games I want to enjoy. So until I'm back with the Moon Runes tomorrow, and more of this the day after, it's a cheers from me, and a cheerio from all of the gross Germany Hanseatic League.